Hello guys, welcome back to another stream. Welcome in. Just going to give it a couple of minutes here while some people hop into the channel, make sure that everything's working correctly. I figured I'd go live today and just have a bit of a chat with you guys. There's a lot of stuff I really want to watch on Battlefield 6 here, and I thought, you know what, I think the people on the channel might be interested in watching this as well. So I figured we could all just like sort of check it out together. There's a number of interviews with like Vince Zampella, Byron Beede as well, who were like, the two like top dogs, I guess, on Battlefield 6. Hello Burnout, hello Ivan, welcome guys. So I think that could be interesting to check out there. I think like so far we don't really know much about Vince Zampella and Byron Beede because they're kind of just like these faces of Battlefield, right? And at the marketing reveal event, they just kind of came on and said like their marketing things, but we've not really seen them spoken to in great depth yet. I think there was one article that came out with Vince Zampella like some months ago. That was like the first news we got on BF6, but apart from that, it's been fairly quiet. Hello guys, hello, welcome. Was the reveal event using open or closed classes? Haven't heard feedback on that. From what I can tell, they were open. I think there's actually a lot of things in the reveal event, and it bears mentioning as well that there could be a lot of things in the open beta that aren't actually going to be in the game. So, like, they've come out and said that there's not going to be double launches for Engineer. Ladeus, you can maybe... Here's the man himself. By the way, massive thank you and shout out to Ladeus. He is the guy who's been providing me with all of the Battlefield 6 footage from the reveal event. He was over there in London, so he's been kindly sending me his footage so that I can actually show something interesting to you guys in the video instead of Battlefield 2042, because Lord knows we don't want to see that. So definitely go and check him out. He's a really nice guy. Give him a follow. So he says, yeah, it was open weapons. Okay. So that makes sense then, yeah. Like I've also seen reports of people saying that from what they've seen of the reveal, that double launches for engineers was still there. I haven't really like trolled the internet and looked at too many people's footage just because I've been so busy making videos and talking about the game myself that I haven't managed to go and like look at everybody else's stuff. So maybe some of you guys who have been looking at other content creators, you can like confirm or deny that. But double launches for engineers should not be there at the game launch on October 10th. And the same thing could be said, I think, for the weapon sling changes for the assault class rather. So they've basically come out and confirmed that you're not going to be able to use a signature weapon. So that's assault rifles, LMGs, SMGs, sniper rifles, I believe, as a weapon sling gadget. So that's like a second primary weapon for the assault class. You can only use shotguns, DMRs, and carbines, I believe. Again, I'm not sure that's going to be in for the beta though. So I wouldn't like freak out too much if you play the beta and there's some things in there that actually aren't final. Even though I keep telling you guys, judge it based on the beta, guys, because you kind of have to. So, there was no dual launchers and no dual signatures for assault, even in the build that you guys played as well. Okay. Why do we need a server browser in Battlefield 6 if we have Portal? That's a good question. And this is something I'm probably going to delve into in depth tomorrow, guys. You know, there's been... I actually did want to check this out on Twitter as well, outside of watching some of these interviews, because there's been a lot of discussion around that recently. So there was a server browser as well for Portal in Battlefield 2042. But what you'll see happen is if you go on there and you try to look for an interesting game mode, what you'll find is not an interesting map rotation that you maybe want to play. What you will find, though, is basically hardcore servers with 1000% extra damage. You'll find experience farm servers, and basically it's filled with that. And it's just not very enticing to go into. So yes, like technically, people could make the servers that they want to make, But the problem is that nobody can matchmake into those. I think the best solution would be to allow people to create servers, right? And then you've got matchmaking as well. And you can say, hey, I want to matchmake. If you don't want to use a server browser, you can matchmake in, but you're going to fill those portal servers. It's not like, here's portal servers and here's the matchmaking system. Those two things are kind of intertwined together. And you can have official DICE servers, right? So if you say, hey, I want to matchmake and I want to play official DICE rules, I want all the maps, I want to play Conquest, like you can put in a few different filters there. I think like that would be a good solution, but maybe you've got filters there that allow you to also matchmake into portal servers. So I'm a big jet guy, right? I like my vehicles in Battlefield, and as far as I've heard, out of the 9 maps at launch, there's only going to be 3 of them with jets. There's only going to be 5 of them with attack helicopters. So let's say I want to play the big, you know, all-out warfare maps with all of the vehicles on there. I'm going to make a server with those 3 maps, or if I just want the attack heli maps, then those 5 maps. And other people who enjoy that same gameplay can matchmake into that. I think that would be, you know, an awesome solution. And the same for people who want to play infantry only, right? They would like to make a server that's just the infantry only maps, or like just the medium-sized maps with the tanks on there. That sort of stuff has been lost. And also, like, you'll find that if you have persistent servers like that, you will have communities that kind of spring up around them. And that just doesn't really happen in Battlefield 2042 anymore. No longer are people hopping, you know, into the same servers and saying, oh, hey, I was playing with you yesterday. Yeah, that was a really good game we had when you were on the other team, right? And you shot me out of the sky in the helicopter. Like, people remember those things. And yeah, I don't know. It's just something about that, man.
Beowulf 3000 has been subbed for months. They wanted to say this.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. I guess they didn't want to say much, but appreciate the sub. Am I from Iceland? No, I'm not from Iceland. I am from England, but I've lived in Iceland since 2006. So it's been a while. On the 9th, will you do a stream going over and showing 2042 final in-game stats, etc.? It would be nice it would be a nice time plus a YouTube video idea. I might do that. We could do like a goodbye Battlefield 2042 session. That would be kind of interesting, yeah. Like, why not? Why not? I don't know what's going to be going on there. There might be more important things, like if EA and DICE are going to be hyping the heck out of the game right before launch, which I'm pretty sure they're going to be. Maybe we won't be able to do that, but if there's nothing else going on, then yeah, why not, dude? Yo, what's up, Red Time? Long time no see, man. Ghost, do you think that Delta Force still has potential against BF6 if they fix the issues? I mean, I don't think most people playing Delta Force play the warfare mode there. It's kind of barren. I think most of the people are, first of all, playing in Asia, and second of all, they're playing the operations. So I don't know. Maybe once like Battle Royale comes out for BF6, they're gonna kind of destroy them. But yeah, I think they're definitely gonna destroy anybody playing warfare. Like, why would you want to play that when you can play BF6? I played both, you know, and I can firmly say that Battlefield 6 is way better than warfare is in Delta Force. For me, Delta Force has always been a stopgap, you know, it's before Battlefield 6 comes out. A welcome distraction, but nothing more than that. What'll matchmaking be like in BF6? Do we have any idea? We don't really know. Let me try and find the a tweet here. It's honestly hard to find things on Twitter these days because there's just so much going on. There's so many people talking with me and to me that it's once I've lost a tweet, I'm like, oh dude, can't even find that anymore. So this came from Alexia Christophe. She is a producer. She was one of the ladies on stage at the reveal event. Let me see here. Okay. I think I found this. This is kind of what the big conversation is going on about at the moment on X, I guess I should be calling it. So she let's just go back here. She asked this, I think, this morning. She says, I'm going to talk about our server browser later today, but first, I want to understand everyone's reasons for wanting a server browser so I can make sure I explain what we're doing effectively. What is it about a server browser that's important to you lot? And, a lot of people have gone through this. I'm not going to get too in-depth in this now because I'm probably going to be doing a dedicated video on that. But then she sort of follows up and says, okay, looks like the most important things are persistent servers. So that's something that Portal, again, to answer your question there, didn't have. Like once you left the server, I think for a certain amount of time, your server just goes away. So it's not like you go offline and then maybe for me, for example, like people in the US would come online and fill up that server. And when I logged on the next day, there'd be people in there already playing. And you kind of need to always have it full and with a player base so it keeps ticking. If it's empty, nobody's going to join it, right? So if you spin up that server again, it's not going to work because nobody will join. So that's a huge thing. A sense of community and a way to play together. Another huge thing there, being able to choose specific maps and modes, being able to filter by ping and server fullness, and then support for low population regions because, of course, like they won't be able to get, servers with good ping and whatnot. So she says, I think our server browser solution answers all these. Yes, it's via Portal, and it shows community experiences, but these can award full XP, will be front and center in our main menu, not hidden, which they kind of were in 2042, and it'll allow you to filter and search for specific things you want. So she's pretty much confirmed there that there's not going to be a server browser for like the main, all-out warfare modes, but she does say it's going to be front and center. You're going to get full XP, which is kind of a way they fumbled the ball with 2042 there. And she says, you're going to be able to like filter and search for specific things. So it doesn't sound like it's actually tied into the matchmaking system, though. It still sounds like it's going to be this completely separate ecosystem. And the fact is that most players who play a game are going to come in, especially new players, and they're just going to click on a game mode and they're going to click search and they're going to find a game that way, right? Because like that's what people know these days. That's what they're used to. You're coming from Call of Duty, you really come from any FPS game. That's just how it is. Oh, Lud, I can't wait till Thursday, man. Just so you guys are aware, I am going to be streaming the beta from the moment it opens on Thursday. I think it's 8 a.m. for me, so I'm kind of lucky because, one, it's not in the middle of the night. I know for the US gang, they've got to get up at like 2, 3 in the morning to play it. And two, I'm actually in my summer vacation at the moment, so I'm going to be streaming. I don't want to say all day. I know Torbis is planning to do like a 10-hour stream, and I said, dude, I would love to do a 10-hour stream, but let's not be kidding anybody here. I'm too old for that shit, so I'll try and stream as many hours as I can. But don't be surprised if I take a bit of a break and come back again. But yeah, obviously there's going to be plenty of content around that. All right, guys. Let me just find this video here. I think you guys are going to find this one pretty interesting. Let's see. Okay, so this is the first interview I want to check out. This one is actually coming out of Skill Up. They have just uploaded this today. It's part of their podcast, and they've got a bit of an interview here with Vince Zampella and also Byron Beede. So Vince Zampella is he's kind of like new Mr. Battlefield. He pretty much took over from Lars Gustafsson, was it? So he's kind of, big Battlefield daddy now. He worked at Respawn. I think he still works at Respawn as well. I think he's still heading up the studio. He's responsible for Apex Legends. Both of these guys have worked heavily on Call of Duty. I think Vince actually made Call of Duty. I know he at least worked on the original Modern Warfare. So he's definitely a huge legend in the scene. And I think they're going to have some interesting stuff to say here. So let's just watch this together, shall we?
How you guys doing? Thanks for being here. Thanks for talking to us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
It always jams people up when I just go into it.
So I answered that you asked me how I was, and then you continued. So I was.
No, you're fine.
Okay.
I'm not good at this.
I'm gonna go back and answer.
Okay.
Good, thanks.
Great. All right, we're off to a good start.
I just gotta say, if I was interviewing Vince Zampella, I'd be kind of, not like starstruck, but almost like a bit intimidated.
At the time of recording this,
in a weird way.
initial campaign reveal is out, the big exciting trailer. You've seen the initial first response to that. How are you guys feeling about that? And now seeing people get their hands on the game, other than labs.
Well, we've been sequestered here answering questions, so we haven't gotten to see people actually enjoying the game. So that will be next after this. But I'm assuming, and you tell me if that I'm right. Just tell me that I'm right.
Yeah.
That people are loving it.
Oh yeah.
Like the energy out there in the reveal was amazing, like off the charts, better than we could have expected. Like
A lot of hoots, a lot of hollers.
Oh yeah.
Just to comment on this, by the way, this is from the reveal event, right? So they're doing this interview there. And I got to say, everybody who I've spoken to as well who's played Battlefield 6, I haven't heard a single person say, you know what? I just don't get the hype. I'm not enjoying it. I've literally not heard that from one person say like, nah, it's not for me. I'm going to skip this game. So I think that's great.
and only half of those were me. Like,
But in terms of people getting their hands on it, how has that been? Like, you know, essentially you're starting to unleash it to the wolves a little bit, the baby that you guys have been working on for God knows how long.
This for us, I think this is the super fun part. We've been working on this game for a long time, and you know, we come to this like Battlefield it's a pretty iconic franchise. Like, it's got a long history. It has huge expectations for it.
Mhm.
And so we've brought in 4 studios who've literally put their heart and soul into this game. And we put it through so much testing through Battlefield Labs. Like, we think we've got something really, really special. And so
Also, I don't want to pause it too much here for you guys, but just to give you guys some more insight. So Battlefield Labs has been going for like 2-3 months. And a lot of people are surprised that the game is going to release so soon after Labs testing on October the 10th. But according to other people that I've seen, like Broken Machine, for example, he says he's been testing this game since like 1.5 years ago. And I think I've heard from Cadwoman as well that she's been in super early tests where the entire map was like white box or gray box. So they may have actually been testing it like way longer than we think.
for us, there's nothing but excitement about today of like, man, I can't wait for people to see this, to play it for themselves.
I mean, coming off, obviously last year, this is 2042. Maybe it tried a lot. It threw a lot of things at the wall. Some things stuck with the bears and some things didn't. What are the key learnings that you and teams are taking from that title as good 6?
I wasn't on Battlefield for 2042 launch. I took over after, so I'm not entirely sure what they did. We did go back and look, obviously, at the fan feedback and, you know, the things that people were not excited about. So there's a lot of things that we, you know, corrected. And we did, you know, like work on testing a lot of those things, fixing it in 2042 to make sure we were doing the right thing before we got into labs and stuff. So, but Battlefield is, a 2-decade-old franchise with some of the biggest, most iconic games. Like when Battlefield hits and does things right, it goes bonkers, right? So I think we look at the entire history of Battlefield, take all the most iconic things, and we say, like, this is the DNA. This is what Battlefield is. Those only in Battlefield moments are real. Like there's nothing that compares to those things. So that's what we want to break into what Battlefield 6 is. You know, and being the spiritual successor to 3 and 4 is kind of how we look at it. And like, so taking all that and what would that next spiritual successor kind of look like? And that's where we started, and the teams all kind of came together, and we have people that have been on Battlefield for, you know, since the beginning. And then we have a lot of new studios, a lot of new blood that come in and look at it in a different way. And, you know, it's important. And, you know, and this is what thing Byron like really hammered home to me is like those Battlefield fans, they know that the core DNA has to be there. We have to get those large scale maps right. If you want to, you know, talk about your philosophy there, like
I would even call it an obsession for us. You know, we've got guys like Tompen Anderson, who's our creative director. He's been here for 20 years, and this is, it's in their bloodstream. Like, they know what makes a great Battlefield game, and we were relentless about that. Like,
It's nice that they actually like listen to what we want here, and that they need to make sure that, you know, it kind of hits those Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 notes, like they know they're going for that. Turn up the volume. You know, you guys can turn your own sound up, right? Like, I've got the level set, guys. Don't worry. If you need it louder, just turn your volume up. So it's nice that, you know, they are in tune with that. Like, they know this needs to be a spiritual successor to those games. And that's exactly what they said, though, with Battlefield 2042. They were like, this is going to be a modern spiritual successor. And it didn't turn out to be that at all. So it's there's a little bit of a like, we've heard that one before, but I do actually think it's true this time.
We constantly talk about our players, our core fans, the DNA, the classes, the combat, the destruction, all-out warfare. It's an obsession for us, and I think that also goes along with Battlefield Labs. It's like, man, we think we love it. We're having a blast playing it. Like, I can't stop, playing the play tests and stuff. I've never had more fun. But it's like, you got to put it in Battlefield Labs. Like, we wanted thousands and thousands of players to get their hands on it, so we could see, like, do we have it right, from every component of it. So for us, it's been awesome.
And I mean, Labs, that's kind of impressive, having that many players, that much feedback. And you just mentioned that it's been very instrumental in shaping the game. You gotta mention, like, those leaks. Were they secretly kind of a good thing for you? Because you're getting a lot of Battlefield
You
footage
get
out
pissed,
there.
or you're
Yeah,
confident,
you're like,
like,
I think you go into it knowing, right?
Yeah.
Like that leaks are going to happen. You can't have that many people in.
even
And
with a
lot of-
watermark.
interesting, yeah.
well, and a lot of it, like some of it is obviously malicious, but like a lot of it just isn't. It's just like, I'm really excited, so I just happen to tell my friend or my roommate or my, and they tell their friend, and like things get out that way. And so it's not always malicious. It's just excitement. And so you kind of have to, understand that we knew going in there would be leaks. And you look at it and say, does the good outweigh the bad? And in this case, absolutely, right? Like, getting those those hours of testing in that we just couldn't otherwise was invaluable to us in shaping this game and making sure we get that core right. So, it's a calculated risk, and I think it's paid off for us. I think the game is way better for it. And at the end of the day, we make games that are fun.
I think that makes a lot, like, we all knew this. Like, we all said this, right, when they brought out Labs testing, that, like, of course, that it's going to be leaked out. They had to have known that. I think a lot of people have a bit of a conspiracy theory almost, though, that, I bet they did this on purpose. Maybe, like, conspiracy theory is the wrong word, I don't know, but, a theory at least that they did this on purpose and had these sort of calculated leak moments, even, like, right before Battlefield, like, the reveal event. A lot of stuff started going up on YouTube, which was strange, because it's almost as if I actually went, like, on Labs to check if they had cancelled the NDA or said, oh, you can talk about Labs now, because so many people started uploading footage on YouTube. So yeah, it almost sort of did look like, they were wanting things to leak out at certain moments, but I truly don't think that was the case. I think it was all, organic. I mean, after all, like, are you actually going to, like, contact some, like, Telegram Russian account and be like, yo guys, hey, here's the data mine information. Can you leak it tomorrow? Like, it's way too far-fetched in my opinion, but nice to hear that they did actually know what's going on. Yo, SMK, welcome, man. Welcome, dude.
That's what we loved it. So what serves that purpose best? And that is getting it in the hands of players and getting them to help us make it.
I do want to dig into you jumping on Battlefield specifically. Like, obviously, you have a big history in the game world, the shooter history. What about Battlefield sticks out to you specifically? Like, why do you think it stands out from all the other shooters you've worked on? Like, obviously, destruction, classes, but, like, what is it for you?
It is destruction. It is classes. It is that only in Battlefield kind of moment that where anything can happen. It's less, I don't want to say less structured in a bad way, right? But it is like there's more controlled chaos, and we bring that through now even more, like with the destruction and how things happen. Like it's like such a different way of playing through the level, reshaping the level kind of as you go. Like there's just something that you can't get in another game. Like in Battlefield, I've been playing it, since the beginning, right? It's always been alongside the Call of Duties, and we obviously looked at them when we were making Call of Duties, right? So it's been iconic in my entire career. So to be able to work on it now is just like, for me, really fun. It's a blessing to be able to kind of see the other side of it and do something that's a little unique and different.
That's an interesting point, right? So Vince obviously
has been subbed for 22 months. They wanted to say this. Hello, Ghost G Teen.
Hello. I appreciate that, Faros. Thank you so much for the sub, dude. So Vince, he's been working on Call of Duty for like the longest time, and that's something I've not actually considered, is that all these years that he's worked on COD, he's been looking at Battlefield as well on the other side of the fence, and kind of, peeking over like, what are they doing there? What are they working on? What are they doing differently this time around? And now he's kind of just like switched teams. So has Byron Beede, in fact. I'm going to go ahead and pause the notifications here, guys. Sorry, probably should have done that beforehand, but I do appreciate the love, by the way, guys. I'll get caught up in the chat in a minute.
So
In terms of other shooters, do you guys look at things like Call of Duty as like friendly competition? Like how do you approach that? Like do you guys feel like you're giving people something different? Like how do you think about Call of Duty?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're different games, right?
Yeah.
Like they offer different things. They're both shooters. They're both military. I get it. There's obviously a comparison, but they offer different things, different ways of playing. So I think, they both exist. I'm glad they both exist. Obviously.
Yeah.
Maybe thanks. I don't know with Byron also. We worked together on Call of Duty. I wouldn't have met this guy if it wasn't for that. So I mean,
I think that's right. I've always thought Battlefield is one of the most unique IPs, I think, in first-person shooters, maybe all of gaming. Like the notion of the sandbox and the agency there's just nothing like it. I think a lot of first-person shooters, like, they pride themselves in the predictability and the map memorization and so forth.
Yeah.
And that's not Battlefield. Like Battlefield's about agency and creativity, and as Vince said, chaos. And so I think I'd like to think that we're bringing out that in all its glory with Battlefield 6, of just like, man, you've never seen Battlefield like this.
I mean, what is the launch package, so to speak, for Battlefield 6? You wouldn't mind talking us through what players can expect on day one?
So one of the things that was important to us, the most important thing is all-out warfare. That's where everything starts for us. And so
100%.
within all-out warfare, as we said, like we obsessed over the core combat. Like we built it from the ground up, and our team on core combat, they're maniacs. Like they've broken down the movement system, the gunplay, the animations, and added all the different features that we've always wanted to have, like drag and revive is like a game changer.
It's noticeable right away.
Oh,
Like holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's so, for me, and I'm sure for a lot of players.
Can I just say, by the way, the drag and revive system, hands down, one of my absolute favorite features to be added in BF6. And like, this is not just critical for Battlefield 6 and extremely innovative outside of that, but this is clearly going to be something that will be in like every Battlefield game, right? You just know that every Battlefield game that comes from now, there's no real reason I can see to not add that in there. It's really a joy to use, and it's almost like just like contextual, you don't have to think about it too much. You just hold the revive button and you walk backwards and you revive somebody, right? It's not like you've got to use more inputs or anything. It's really, just natural. And the way I think it works is that if you're dragging somebody, you will revive them slower than if you just stand, right on top of them. And of course, if you use defibs, you're going to revive them even quicker. But it depends on your stance as well. So if you drag somebody, and I think you're stood up, it's fairly slow. But if you're prone and you're kind of, dragging somebody around the corner like that, it's a little bit faster. So there are lots of different like revive speeds.
It's like, you love the notion of reviving and getting your teammates back in the fight, but when they're laying out there in the middle of crossfire, it's like it's a rough go. But with drag and revive, it's so much fun to just go up there, grab them, pull them to safety, get them back up. I even like in drag and revive where when you're revived, you're up and shooting on your back right away. And so it's that loop is just, I think they've perfected it. And so the combat, the destruction, the classes, and the all-out warfare. So Conquest, Breakthrough, and Rush are hallmarks of Battlefield. But we also added Escalation, which is a new all-out warfare mode.
Just before we go on, somebody in the chat here, Pierre, says, Ender said this could be a tool to harass streamers. That is a fair point, yes. So it's not like in other games where if you start reviving them a little bit and you don't get the full circle, you get revived, right? But with a certain percentage of health based on the completion of the circle. In this game, I think if you don't get somebody like complete the circle, then you just sort of drop them and stop dragging them. So yes, in theory, I suppose you could actually troll somebody with this, keep picking them up, dragging them, putting them back down. I don't recall if you're if you're mid-drag, I don't think you can actually let your soldier bleed out. Don't quote me on that. I'm going to have to look at the footage here and see, because it's been a long while since I last played Labs. But yeah, that could be something they need to look into there if it's, ripe for abuse in that way, because that would kind of suck.
And that one is super fun. The construct of it is that there's multiple capture points at, when the match starts, and then the match slowly whittles down to a more concentrated play space. And so the intensity just skyrockets as the match goes. So when we first started playtesting it, I think sometimes pretty early on this stuff is like, man, this is awesome. Like, this is a blast. And so that rounds out the all-out warfare. But we also feel like the Battlefield DNA, it works in a lot of different ways.
Okay, so what they're talking about here is the new escalation game mode, which we really don't know anything about. They've basically just told us, we're going to get Conquest, Rush, Breakthrough, was it TDM, Squad TDM, Domination? We've also seen this Payload on the website. They didn't mention this in the reveal, but there is going to be Payload, which is... It is new to Battlefield, but there was actually a Payload game mode in Portal in 2042 that I played, so I think they may have taken inspiration from that there. But this escalation mode they're discussing here, it sounds a lot like Control, and I actually think that I was right, and a lot of us were right, when we said that they were using Battlefield 2042 as like a test bed for this game. They were trying lots of interesting things, and one of those things was Control. So the way Control works is, for the first round, I think there are 4 flags. There's 4 objectives. You capture them, and you score as many points as you can. Then for round number 2, there's 3 flags. For round number 3, there's 2 flags. And for round number 4, there's only like the D flag, the one single flag. And you get these ascension points. The more you kill, the more you cap flags and score points. You get ascension points that allow you to spawn in vehicles. Now, I don't know if that's going to be part of escalation, but it sounds like they're going with the same sort of theory around the flags, where as each round, if you want to call it that, progresses, there's going to be fewer and fewer objectives, and so the intensity is going to escalate, right? That sounds pretty good. I mean, Control has been by far my favorite game mode in Battlefield 2042 that they've added, and I did actually say right there in that game that I would like to see this in future Battlefield games as well.
So for us, Domination, King of the Hill, Squad Deathmatch, Team Deathmatch, like playing it with destruction, with classes, with this combat system, it's super fun. Like, I've had a blast playing Domination. I keep going back to these memories of just like, man, we've got cap point B secured, and all of a sudden like the floor blows out beneath you, and it's just like you've just never experienced like those kind of modes like that before. So that's the multiplayer package, and then we're going to release 9 maps, and we've been pretty meticulous about the maps to make sure there's a mix of urban and nature maps. There's close quarters with large scale maps. We wanted to make sure that there's plenty of maps with jets and tanks and all the vehicles, bringing that all to bear. And so we're really happy with the map offering. And then on top of that, for the first time in a decade, we're bringing single player back, like a campaign story for players. So I think people are going to got a little bit of taste of that with the reveal trailer, but we wanted to bring back storytelling to Battlefield as well.
And I mean, before we touch on single player stuff, we were remiss of me not to mention there was a report recently that said the internal numbers for Battlefield, you're targeting 100 million. Is there truth to that report? And you mentioned a lot of really fun, exciting things there. What do you think is the key differentiator that's going to pull people away from COD, pull people away from Fortnite, and get them into Battlefield?
I mean, I think those numbers come from leaks, which we don't comment on. So,
oh, come on, dude.
Even when they're good, sometimes, I know. What was the second question? We'll go back to that.
The differentiator to pull people away. I mean, because really, it's attention economy. It's like, what are you pulling people away from? You got a lot of exciting things, and do you think that's going to be enough to pull that many people?
Having played it, I do. I mean, I think we offer a different style of play. It is that all-out warfare, the destruction, the vehicles, that combination together, like it really works.
Agree. For me, look, I've been in the industry for over 20 years, and I've always looked at Battlefield. To me, it's one of the coolest franchises in gaming. And so for us, it's like we wanted to just do it right. And if we feel like if we do it right, like a lot of people will love playing it, And so, as I said, we've had a blast playing it. I think the creators out there right now, hopefully, are having a blast the same way we are. But I think our job was to do Battlefield right. And what happens next, I think Battlefield's a big, iconic franchise, and so that was job number 1 for us.
Build it and they will come.
Ideally.
So obviously they believe in it here. Like they kind of try. You can tell that question made them a bit uncomfortable. For anybody who doesn't get the context, right? There was this big article that that came out, and this guy writing the article, he went and spoke to people working at the 4 studios working on Battlefield 6, and some of them had like since quit the studio, and basically this was all sort of leaked out, right? Because these people commented anonymously on what it was like working at DICE, what it was like working at Ripple Effect, Criterion, and Motive. Those are the 4 studios. And one of the comments to come out is that EA are hoping to get 100 million players, right? And in addition to that, there was a lot of other stuff like the developers were getting burnt out and stuff. So I think some people thought, well, maybe this is just some disgruntled ex-employees or whatever that are commenting on this. But it sounds the way he reacted here, he didn't necessarily say, yes, that is our target, but it sounds like he didn't say that's ridiculous either, right? That's probably true then. And it seems like they both believe in the product, that like, yeah, they've built a solid game here. And I gotta say, based on like the hype around it so far, I think we could be onto a winner. Like 100 million players, I'm not sure, but it's looking good.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about single player a little bit, because that's like my bread and butter. I'd love to know kind of how things have been coming together, how you guys are putting together single player with the whole Ridgeline Games thing and how that went. So like, what challenges did you face there, and now how is single player coming together?
Yeah, we were fortunate enough to get the guys from Motive who worked on the I'm drawing blank.
Dead
Dead
Space.
Space.
Yeah, Dead Space remake.
Oh, nice.
And they're fantastic.
Yeah.
Like they have done such an amazing job of picking up that mantle and running with it, and we're lucky to have them. Like that studio has been a godsend for us. So like it's coming along really well. It's I don't know what else.
It's fun. For us, it's like we want to tell a Battlefield story. It's like big global stakes, like lots of big action and so forth. So
Where do you start? Do you start like conflict first? Do you start like locations first? Like how do you even start coming up with a Battlefield story?
I mean, it's a lot of back and forth and storytelling, ideas thrown around, shot down, argument, throwing things at each other.
a lot of it is gameplay. It's like, what kind of gameplay circumstances do we want to create for players? I think
That makes sense.
it's like what fits with Battlefield, and so we want to make sure we get those right. But the story is important too. Like we want to develop characters in a universe where you're like, man, I want to see what happens next.
It's one thing that Battlefield hasn't really had.
Yeah.
Maybe Bad Company or something. Like there hasn't been a lot of like iconic characters. So we go to achieve some of that.
Yeah, that's totally true. I think like in the past, obviously 2042 didn't have anything. Battlefield 5 and 1, BF1 had like war stories. Did BF5 have those as well? I think there was some kind of single player component, but it's not like you had these continuation of characters. But it's interesting like how they build the campaign there, because yeah, like what comes first, the chicken or the egg? Like, do you say this is the story and now we have to make levels and scenarios around that story, or do you just say, hey, I like in BF3, for example, I love a mission where we get to fly jets and you're in a jet with somebody. So let's like build a story that allows us to have these awesome epic Battlefield moments. I think that's probably the way to do it, and the way it always has been done, because you can tell from Battlefield games, the stories, they're usually pretty like cookie cutter, like pretty cliche. The characters are nothing special, but there's usually some epic moments in there. For anybody not understanding, by the way, what they're talking about Motive here, originally, Ridgeline Studios, which was headed up by Marcus Leto, one of the co-creators of the Halo universe, he was supposed to be doing the campaign for this game. And somewhere down the road, he had a major falling out with EA. I was really hoping they were going to mention what that was. I mean, of course, they're not going to mention it, right? It's bad PR. But yeah, they kind of fell out with each other. It's not clear what happened, but it was obvious that like Marcus Leto felt like he'd been badly done to by EA. I also had some people anonymously reach out to me who work for DICE, so I won't name names, but they kind of said, hey Ghost, like I know you're taking Marcus's side, but it's not all one way, if you know what I mean. So it kind of sounds like maybe he was a bit of a douche. I don't know. I'm not sure how that's going on there. Oh, thank you, Rebel Commando. Appreciate the super chat, man. Am I up for some rounds in the closed beta?
Ghost
I
equals
certainly
goat.
am.
You
I
up for
certainly am,
some
dude.
rounds in closed beta?
100%, man.
I mean, we've got 4 core studios working on this one big, huge, epic title. What does that balance look like? I mean, is there like one sole creative director vision and everyone else kind of... How does everything kind of funnel together to work cohesively?
So for me, we have ambition for Battlefield. Like, we wanted to create a universe that our players thought was wildly entertaining, but true to the Battlefield DNA. And we felt like to do that, we gotta be all in on it. And so we're blessed that we have these 4 studios, putting their heart and soul into Battlefield. And so when we go across it, like, you've got DICE, who I think is one of the greatest multiplayer developers in the world. Criterion, who's been long time on Battlefield, like, they know this franchise in and out. Vince mentioned Motive, like, great storytellers and single player. And then Ripple Effect, they hail from DICE, like, they've got the chops and the genes from Battlefield multiplayer. And so for me, it's the melting pot of all those different studios of 20-year veterans mixed with, fresh new blood and ideas. And so for me, I think players are going to see that we got the DNA right, but man, this game feels cutting edge and modern. I think we've struck the right mix.
And I mean, final question, we'll let you guys eat. Not a lot of time between now and October. Obviously, talking of getting creators and media hands-on, beta out into the public. Do you feel ready? And if you weren't feeling ready, is any chance of delay, or is it just, hey, October, that's our date, we're sticking to it?
That's our day and we're sticking to it.
Yeah, we feel ready, and I think that speaks to Battlefield Labs. I mean, we've been playing testing this game for years internally, in the thousands and thousands and thousands of people who've helped us play test it online with Battlefield Labs and so forth. Like, we put this game through the ringer, we've honed different parts of it. We've gotten tons of feedback. Like, today was excitement for us of just like, man, I can't wait for people to play this. As I said, when we do play tests, all you hear is shouting and screaming and fun and laughter. It's just like it's a blast.
Remember, this is only the beginning. Like, we're creating a Battlefield that we intend to service for many years. There's going to be a lot more coming. So, like, this is the launch point, and it's just going to keep getting better from year for us. So,
Looking forward to seeing it. Thanks,
Yeah.
Byron. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
thank you guys for coming.
We'd love.
All right, there we go, guys. That was end of the interview there. Let me know what you think. I think it's quite nice to see them being so open and transparent here with the game as well. I do feel a little bit more optimistic about the launch, because when I first heard, like, wait a minute, this game's coming out on the 10th of October in, what is that, like, just over 2 months. How is it going to be ready? Like, please don't tell me there's going to be another shoddy Battlefield release. But from what I've seen from all the builds, it actually looks... It looks good, right? There are some bugs in there. I don't know if anybody saw the crazy, the sliding movement in the game. Like, sometimes the slides, you would just kind of, I don't know, like a turtle on its back or something, just like whiz along on the floor. And apparently, according to Tactical Brit, right, that's a bug. And it's not going to be in the final game. But it probably wouldn't be a Battlefield release if there weren't any weird, wacky bugs like that, would it? But yeah, like, it looks pretty good. I think maybe once we've played the beta, we'll be able to sort of really figure out, like, are there actually any game-breaking bugs in here? Because I think if you watch just footage, it looks good, but then you play it yourself, and then you may feel like, wait a minute, there's something weird going on here. And I think now we're going to get like hundreds, probably tens of thousands of people playing the beta at once, right? I think there's going to be a ton of beta players. If there is some weird bug, it's probably going to come out in that. So hopefully they'll have time to fix it before the game actually releases. 2 months is not a lot of time to get your like final build ready, and you've got to like put it on like discs, right? We're still going to be doing this, the regular discs as well as digital. So I don't know, but so far it's looking pretty solid. 2 months is plenty of time to knock out kinks and polish it up. Super excited. and they're definitely confident they nailed what the players want. Yeah, I hope so, Devon Guy. I hope so, man. I mean, I would disagree that 2 months is plenty of time. I think 2 months goes by like that because it's not like they can work down to the last day, right? They've got to like get their build sort of agreed upon and validated by Sony for PlayStation and by Microsoft for Xbox, and that has to happen like some weeks before. It's got to be printed to disc, so the build is honestly probably ready like now. They probably aren't any changes that they can make, even if they're discovered in the beta. Those will likely come as a day one patch then. That's generally how it works these days. Do not pre-order. I think that's a smart move. I think it's a smart move. Like, the fact of the matter is, like, whilst I understand why people will pre-order, there is no reason to pre-order. Like, whether you pre-order now or you pre-order on the 9th of October, it's not going to make a difference to you, like, one way or the other. So, that there really is no, like, good reason to say, I'm going to try out the beta and then pre-order, but I mean, of course, like, I understand, right? A lot of people are 100% sure they're going to play this game. They see it and they're like, yeah, this is incredible. Hey, Lopper. You know what, guys? Before we go on to the next bit here, the next video, the next interview, I think I got to feed her. I completely forgot to feed her. And she's like, yo, Poppers, where's my food? Hello. Hey, Lopper. All right, guys, give me like 2-3 minutes. All right, I'm just gonna grab a quick drink. I'm gonna give her some dinner, and we'll be back for more Battlefield. Oh, down you go. BRB, guys. Let me just play this for you guys. So there's actually like something. Anybody who's new, who's just come in, you can rewatch this,
Feeling about
and
that,
I'll be back in
now
a few
seeing
minutes.
People get their hands on the game, other than labs.
Well, we've been sequestered here answering questions, so we haven't gotten to see people actually enjoying the game. So that will be next after this. But I'm assuming, and you tell me if that I'm right. Just tell me that I'm right.
Yeah.
That people are loving it.
Oh yeah.
Like, the energy out there in the reveal was amazing. Like, off the charts, better than we could have expected. Like,
A lot of hoots, a lot of hollers.
Oh yeah.
and only half of those were me. Like,
But in terms of people getting their hands on it, how has that been? Like, you know, essentially you're starting to unleash it to the wolves a little bit, the baby that you guys have been working on for God knows how long.
This for us, I think this is the super fun part. We've been working on this game for a long time, and we come to this like Battlefield it's a pretty iconic franchise. Like, it's got a long history. It has huge expectations for it. And so we've brought in 4 studios who've literally put their heart and soul into this game. And we put it through so much testing through Battlefield Labs. Like, we think we've got something really, really special. And so for us, there's nothing but excitement about today of like, man, I can't wait for people to see this, to play it for themselves.
I mean, coming off, obviously, last year, this is 2042. Maybe it tried a lot. It threw a lot of things at the wall. Some things stuck with the bears and some things didn't. What are the key learnings that you and teams are taking from that title as good 6?
I wasn't on Battlefield for 2042 launch. I took over after, so I'm not entirely sure what they did. We did go back and look, obviously, at the fan feedback and, the things that people were not excited about. So there's a lot of things that we, corrected. And we did, like, work on testing a lot of those things, fixing it in 2042 to make sure we were doing the right thing before we got into labs and stuff. So, but Battlefield is, a 2-decade-old franchise with some of the biggest, most iconic games. Like, when Battlefield hits and does things right, it goes bonkers, right? So I think we look at the entire history of Battlefield, take all the most iconic things, and we say, like, this is the DNA. This is what Battlefield is. Those only in Battlefield moments are real. Like there's nothing that compares to those things. So that's what we want to break into what Battlefield 6 is. you know, being the spiritual successor to 3 and 4 is kind of how we look at it. And like, so taking all that and what would that next spiritual successor kind of look like? And that's the, like, where we started, and the teams all kind of came together, and we have people that have been on Battlefield for, you know, since the beginning. And then we have a lot of new studios, a lot of new blood that come in and look at it in a different way. And, you know,
Yo, guys.
it's important. And, you know, and this is what thing Byron like really hammered home to me is like those Battlefield fans, they know that.
Okay. Let's pause them to that. Find the next interview here. Because there's definitely a couple of interesting ones that have come out over the past 2 days. I think they kind of just said, like, anybody who wants an interview can have an interview with us. Live cat reaction. I saw somebody earlier in the chat, I think it was you, Zabby, saying like, oh, there's only like 30 people on Twitch and there's a bunch of people on YouTube, and that kind of probably makes people say, oh, well, I don't want to be on Twitch, you know, all alone in the chat, and I get that. It's the problem with it is it's difficult to actually get people to like transition from YouTube to Twitch, and I've got to say it, Twitch, they're kind of lagging behind YouTube these days in terms of streaming. Like the quality is not as good. There's a lot, like I think the chat interaction is better on Twitch, but the quality of the stream is always going to be better on YouTube. I can do, you know, 1440p. I can only do like 1080p on Twitch. The only thing I'll say, the caveat, is that on Twitch, you've got drops, right? Now, there's not drops at the moment, but I do hope that EA are going to give more drops for Battlefield 6's like early access to the beta, because it seems kind of weird. As far as I know right now, the only way you can get in is that you either signed up for labs before the 31st when they stopped labs, or you basically watch a Twitch streamer over there and you get a drop from them. Now, I didn't realize I had drops during the event because I wasn't invited to the event, and I thought it was only people who had been invited. But apparently, it was just anybody who was streaming in the Battlefield 6 category. So if they open up the drops again, I'll try and let you guys know when I'm streaming that there are drops there, so you can maybe watch over there instead, because then hopefully you can get like access to the beta on the 6th and the 7th and the 8th. I don't know if they're going to open them up again, though. I think it would make sense. I wouldn't be surprised if you're on the lookout for like an early access to the beta key. Man, the Battlefield Reddit community is toxic now. What do you mean now? It's always been. It's Reddit, dude. Like, what do you expect? You're watching the car driving home and on? Oh, well, be careful. Be careful. You must be in a Tesla then or something, are you? Are you? Can you even watch stuff in a Tesla like while you're driving? Doesn't it like stop you, say, hey, you're driving, you can't use the screen? Thank you guys so much for the follows. Appreciate that. The Battlefield Reddit acts like Battlefield is in Milsim. Oh, okay. This morning, I saw a comment on my video from yesterday where somebody said Battlefield 6 is like Quake. I'm not even exaggerating, dude. Like Quake. Like, have you ever played Quake 3 Arena, for example? The movement is insane in comparison. I don't know, Mood. Like, you just can't have any movement in a Battlefield game without people complaining about it. And, like, to be honest, I don't like too much movement in Battlefield either. I think there's got to be, there's got to be a balance. You don't want people, jumping around corners without getting any sway on their weapons. But, like, as far as I can see, I think Ender's put out a video on this, right, where he kind of delved into it. And he made a really good point there that, like, he showed off that there is, like, significant weapon sway, like I thought, when you jump around a corner. And like I said, yes, you can get lucky. Like, you can jump around a corner and I aim at you, and if I'm lucky with my rounds, I could kill you. And you might say, oh, that's completely unfair from your perspective. But from my perspective, I just kind of got lucky. Most of the time, 9 times out of the time, that's going to result in you dying. So I don't think it's going to be like a major problem. I think if it is a problem, like we're all going to play the beta. So once we've played the beta, like, yeah, if you see like every other person skating around the battlefield on ice skates and zuzuing, vuzuing everywhere, then yes, okay, let's start whining and complaining and saying, Dice, you got to change this. But until that happens, let's calm, guys. You know, let's take it easy.
According to Steady, they will open up early access stream keys on Thursday.
Thanks for the 50, Jimmy. Always appreciate it, my man. Yeah, Thursday. That is, what day is that? That's the 7th. Yep. So I know that it's 8 o'clock in the morning my time, and the Iceland time is basically UTC, so the Universal Time. I'm not sure what that equates to for you guys. If you're in the US, it's like, I think it's 4 o'clock Eastern Time, probably like 1 in the morning Pacific Time. And then if you're in England, it's like 9 a.m. And if you're in most of Europe, it's like CEST, then it's 10 a.m. Is Thursday not the 7th? Yes, it is. Stop trolling me, that's that. It definitely is the 7th. I mean, those are the early days, right, guys? It's the 7th in my country. If it's not the 7th in the US, I don't care. Then it's the 6th. I don't know, man. I'm so confused. But it is right. It's the 7th from the morning, from like after midnight, so makes sense. Those are the early access days, guys. Thursday, Friday, 7th and 8th. Then you get 9th and 10th is open. So that's the question though, when is it going to switch from closed to open? Like if you don't get an early access key, when do you get in on the Saturday? It's probably the same time, 8 o'clock in the morning. And then the next week after that, 14th till the 17th, all 4 of those days are going to be open. So like if you're busy this weekend, next weekend, you're going to be able to get in there fairly easily. SBMM is not a thing, it's just a team balancer like Battlefield 1, 5, and 3. Yeah, by the way, guys, I'd recommend not spamming caps because Nightbot is absolutely out of control and it will ban you, like, without me even willing it. I don't know, I've tried to calm it down so it's a little bit more lenient, but Nightbot has a mind of its own. It does not like caps spamming, so, or emoji spamming for that matter. But yes, you're right, there's no skill-based matchmaking in that sense in Battlefield, right? There's what we call team balancing. So, you know, there is skill-based matchmaking technically because you matchmake and it matchmakes you into a round and into a team based on your skill. So that is by definition skill-based matchmaking. But I understand what you mean. When you say skill-based matchmaking, you think of Call of Duty, you think of all of the ridiculous algorithm that you have in that game, that, you know, has you winning one round being the top of the scoreboard, bottom of the scoreboard the next. No, I don't believe Battlefield 6 will have that. It's basically just going to use your skill, amongst other things as well, like how full the server is, your ping, you know, a bunch of other criteria to basically find a good server for you. Hey Ghost, I pre-order Battlefield 6. Can I play the beta on the 6th? So, a bit of a correction here for anybody who saw my video 3 days ago, I believe it was, about the beta. I did put a correction in the comment section there, and I pinned it. It turns out, apparently, if you pre-order the game, that does not look like it actually gives you early access to the beta. I thought this did. All of the reports on it said that that was the case. But if you go over there and look at the different, you know, types of game you can get, like the Phantom Edition and the other edition, apparently there's nothing there that says that you do get early access, which I personally find really, really weird. Because like I said earlier, that then means that you can't get in anymore. Like, if you're not in now, unless they open up Twitch drops, you're screwed. Like, there's no way you can get access because you either had to be a sign-up, you know, a signee, if you will, for Battlefield Labs before the 31st, or you had to watch the creator and get a drop from them, and they've turned off the drops. But a little bit of hope for anybody. They did enable drops yesterday for like 6 hours. It was really weird. I went on Twitch, like drops were on again, and I checked it on my creator dashboard, and the drops were for like 6 hours only. Like from 2 o'clock in the afternoon until 8 p.m. they enabled drops, and then they turned it off again. And I thought, why not just put drops on now until Thursday? And that way I could be streaming right now on Twitch. You guys could be getting keys. You know, we could just keep streaming for the next few days. And that would like solve the problem for anybody who wants a key. Like the word could get out and they could grab one. Another option, of course, is what they might be doing is once the early access drops on the Thursday, they might turn the drops on then. So you come along, you see Ghost streaming or somebody else is streaming, you're like, oh, damn, I really want to play right now. Ah, drops are on. You can watch Ghost for an hour, and then you get a key, and then you can instantly reclaim that key and get in. I think that might be what they go for. Kevin Johnson said codes via Discord will be over the week. Codes via Discord? What Discord then? Like, is that in the Battlefield Discord? Stoddy was saying you had to claim the key before tonight. No, before midnight, sorry. Before midnight on the Thursday then. Okay, maybe that's not the case then. I don't know. It seems like I don't know why you would want to limit players from getting in. Like I understand there being a bit of a barrier, right? You want to encourage people to watch streamers to get more viewers on the stream. You also want to do it to encourage streamers to stream the game. But like, why would you want to limit that? I don't really understand. Like, it kind of feels like there's a bit of a barrier. Like, there's like I'm in the know. Like, I watch Battlefield content creators and that, so I got in early. But for anybody who just doesn't know, like, say you're a Call of Duty player, which they're obviously going for. You know, you come along on Thursday, you're like, oh, what is this? What is this amazing game, Battlefield 6? Can I play this now? Oh, no, you can't. But then I guess, you know, worst case, you just wait 2 days and you play it. Where is Kat? I don't know. She's probably eaten and now she's sleeping. I must be very lucky then because I got a drop from Twitch and 2 days after I received an email from Battlefield Labs. Yeah, I don't think you can actually, unfortunately, share like either one of those, Devil. I think they're always tied to your EA account. But yeah, if you signed up for Battlefield Labs, guys, you will get an email. Like everybody's gotten, maybe everybody's not gotten it yet, but the emails have gone out, so you should be good then. Maybe if you forgot, you know, then you probably want to go ahead and check that. Anywho, let's crack on, shall we, with this next interview. Let me get this one set up here. Okay, so this one, the same boys again here. This one is actually from a website called Gaming, or a channel called Gaming Interviews. So I'm going to be linking all these guys, of course, down below. This guy's only got like 900 subs, so this kind of flew under the radar. This is just actually doesn't have that many views, so let's see what they have to say here.
At the point of this going out, though, embargoes are finally lifted. People are finally seeing your game officially for the first time. So what does it feel like to be in this moment? And finally
Audio's not that great from his end there.
I mean, I'm fired up. You know, the teams have been working so hard on this for so long. I want everyone to know, like, just we've obsessed over the details of Battlefield just to make sure that we get it right. So the combat, the classes, the destruction, all-out warfare, and you know, for me, I can't get enough of the game in our own playtests and stuff. So it's just, for us, it's insanely fun. And then through Battlefield Labs, you know, all the validation that we've gotten through that. So for us, it's like, man, let's get this in the hands of players. So I'm nothing but fired up at this point.
Yeah, it's been, you know, years of behind the scenes work. It's, you know, that moment when you can finally share is just, it's terrifying, but at the same time, just, you know, like so powerful, so good. The whole team gets excited around seeing the world's reaction. And it's been like, so far, you know, like the energy in the room has been amazing. It's been such a great moment for us.
And I know we've seen a lot and you guys are still going to show us a lot, but if you can, what are some of the key differences that are going to separate this Battlefield from all the others preceding it?
I think we heard a lot of that, and we wanted to be very specific about that. That, you know, the focus of it is to get Battlefield right, to do Battlefield better than it's ever been done before. And so that started with like the combat system of building that up from scratch. Like we want this to be the best combat you've ever experienced in Battlefield. And then we know we're famous, you know, people love destruction in Battlefield. So we've spent a lot of time
We know we're
making
famous.
sure like, man, what's an insane level of destruction that really impacts the fun of the game. And I think for us, I'm really excited for players to experience that, because for us in every playtest we have, there's some outrageous moment or moments in the game where you're just like destruction comes into play. And so for us, there is a spectacle aspect of it, but it's part of the gameplay and the fun of it. That's just
Right, on the topic of destruction, I don't want to be a downer for anybody, because I think the destruction is like incredible in this game. Everybody's been asking for the destruction. It looks really good. But I do wonder, like, say in a year from now, and you're sort of used to like this specific house on this map always gets destroyed like instantaneously. I do wonder if there's gonna be any like people like whining about destruction, saying like, oh, they should make it so this house was indestructible because it's like you know, it's impossible to defend. I definitely think like the positives of destruction outweigh any potential negatives here, but you know, I'm super stoked for it. But it is going to be interesting. Like, remember the Siege of Shanghai tower falling down on BF4? Like, it came out and everyone was like wowed, and then it like you had servers like banning you from destroying the tower because the map was worse for it. I'm kind of interested to see if there's anything like that going to happen.
makes it insane. So, you know, the combat, the destruction, like really amping up the classes. You heard out there, like Tompin and our core combat team, like they're maniacs with this. Like they just go all out on the gadgets and the class fantasies and so forth. So for me, it's like, man, it's just getting Battlefield right in all those dimensions. And I think if we do that, I think it's one of the most fun games in all of this industry.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think there's a lot of things that Battlefield has done best of class over the years, maybe not all of them together. Our goal is to do as many of those together as we can and just bring all the greatness of Battlefield together in one package. And, you know, like with the destruction stuff, it's about also predictable destruction, which I think came up in the Q&A today. It's like, it's not about chaos, it's not about randomness, it's about, you know, you need to learn the battlefield and be able to play that in a predictable way and learn how to use it to your advantage. And with, you know, with randomization, it doesn't really work that way. So it's kind of, the team has just done so much work around finding out a way that enhances the play, not detracts from it. And like the results have been like way better than I think we even imagined.
We'll have to reiterate some of these questions. Obviously, information will already be public. I'm sure you guys already understand that. But when it comes to maps and modes, the basics of the game, can we go over that really quick so people can get a base detail on what's going to be available at launch?
Yeah, sure. So we're gonna have 8 modes at launch and 9 maps. So the modes that we're gonna be launching with is all-out warfare. That's what we're known for. That's what Battlefield's famous for. So that's Conquest, Breakthrough, and Rush. But we've also added a mode to that suite called Escalation, which we're just having a blast with in the studios. Like it's a new kind of twist on Conquest, but the Battlefield reduces a number of capture points, and it just really consolidates the action at the end. It's really, really fun. And then we have classic modes with the Battlefield DNA infused in them. So we have Squad Deathmatch, Team Deathmatch, King of the Hill, and Domination. And
Again, they're not willing to elaborate much on Escalation there, are they? I just wanted to interject in the video. Thank you, London, for posting this to me over on Twitter, guys. For anybody wanting a key for early access to the beta. So this is from Kevin Johnson here, the community manager. He says, developers don't get access to them. Oh, he's replying to Alexia Christopher here just for... I could find this on the PC, but it'll just take time, you know. He says, basically, don't worry. There will be plenty of opportunities this coming week to pick up a key if you keep your ears to the ground with community spots like ... Discord. So it sounds like if you're in probably the Battlefield Discord, I would recommend being there. Keep an eye on the announcements tab. They may like give away keys or something like that. And they're probably going to be, it sounds like, in more places than just Discord. So I would be very surprised if, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday next week, leading up to early access for the beta, we didn't see a lot of opportunities to get keys. They're probably going to give them to EA Creator Network members and say, hey, here's like a bunch of keys to give out to your communities. Unfortunately, you won't be getting one from me then, but you might get one from Mr. SMK Gaming, so go and check him out. He's in the chat up there. Solid fellow to follow.
I just want, for me, I just want everyone to know, like, our version of domination, for example, is like, it's with the Battlefield DNA. So, there's so many times where like you're capturing a sector in domination and trying to protect it. All of a sudden the walls blow out of it and it totally transforms the nature of the match. So we're having a blast in those modes as well. And then from a map perspective, we'll be launching with 9 maps. And I think the team's been meticulous with this to make sure that we have the right mix of urban and nature maps, the right infantry maps with all-out warfare, with all the vehicles. Like, we just want to have the right suite for players.
And this, we're only talking about multiplayer here in this event. So, like, there's a lot more still to come.
Right, there's all of Gauntlet as well, for anybody who doesn't know. There's the Battle Royale mode, and then there's the Gauntlet mode. And Gauntlet, from what we know from data mining, is essentially a bunch of mini game modes. And it sounds like it's going to be the closest thing to like competitive. Think like the finals, where it's tournament style. You've got, multiple, maybe 4-man squads, and you're all pitted against each other in these like smaller game modes. We don't know a ton about it yet, but that's sort of where it sounds like it's going. I think they're probably going to unveil that at the same time as they do the Battle Royale. You didn't get to any of the events, dude. It really sucks that neither of us got invited to LA, to be honest with you. But I don't know if I think with that thing, if they're gonna give creators codes, I can definitely see them giving you some. Like, it might just be like they give everybody codes. For anyone wondering, like the EA Creator Network, they don't. I was under the illusion when I joined it, when I used to be in it, that like when you're in, and you just get invited to everything, because that's how it works with other creator programs that I'm in for other games like Grey Zone Warfare, or like I've done some stuff on Dune Awakening or whatnot. Like when you're in the creator Discord, you get invited to all the events. You're sort of equal to everyone else. That's not really how it works in the EA Creator Network. You can be in there, but then they sort of pick and choose who they like, essentially, the most, and who they want to invite to things. So, yeah, for good or for worse, that's sort of how it goes. I saw some people earlier saying that Escalation, Faris, you were saying that sounds a lot like Control from 2042. Funny you mentioned that, because I was just saying that earlier on. Yeah, Control is actually like the best, in my opinion at least, the best game mode to come out of Battlefield 2042. Maybe one of the only good things to come out of that game. So I do hope it's going to be like that, maybe even with vehicles as well, and the ascension points,
And there'll be a lot more coming, like, in the future. Like, this is the start of Battlefield, right? Like, we're going to be continuing to develop, like, as the years come on. It'll just get better from here. So, like, as a launching off point, it's amazing, and then we'll just get better. And, with feedback from the players and the communities, and we'll build this into something that's just next level.
Where do you think they're going with this? Right, what's next? Because they keep talking this like Battlefield universe, and a lot of people thought, is it going to be like the COD, the Call of Duty launcher, where you log into that, and then there's a bunch of different games in there. From the way they speak about it, it sort of sounds as though they're not just going to keep churning out games. So, we're maybe not going to see Battlefield 7 in 2027, and then the next Battlefield game after that. Battlefield every year, Pierre? I don't know, dude. It sounds like they kind of want to build on what Battlefield 6 is, and, like, add to that and improve it. I think they definitely are going to make additional games to go alongside it, but I really, like, don't know for sure what their plan is with this. Like, what is this Battlefield universe that they keep talking about here? Like, is it a coalition of all of these different things? Is it Gauntlet and the Battle Royale and the all-out warfare? Are they basically saying, we're going to give you lots of different ways to play Battlefield every time you play Battlefield, and that's what we're going to call this Battlefield universe? Or is it going to be like next year we release another game, and it's going to be you know, different than a Modern Warfare. Maybe it's going to be like a Hardline 2 or some sort of a spin-off, maybe like a Bad Company 3. And I don't know, all these games are going to make up this Battlefield universe. Is it they're going to support? Maybe they're going to support Battlefield 6 with a new game? I really don't know, but like the future is exciting, I think.
What are some of the key mechanical and or graphical updates that we're going to see with this title, or improvements we've seen from the past?
All right, so as I said, our core combat team, so David Serland and folks, they're maniacs. And so when we started this project,
you heard it here first. David Serland is a maniac. This guy likes to say maniac a lot, though.
They just wanted to go all out on combat. Like, we just wanted to have the best combat experience you've ever had in Battlefield. And so that's the moment-to-moment gameplay that you immerse yourself in. And so one of the first things they talked about is like, we got to have drag and revive. That's a huge element of Battlefield. And the second we put that in the game, you could see it transform the experience for players, where, you know, now all of a sudden you're going out into no man's land, which you may have left your teammate out there normally, but now that you can drag and revive your teammate, it's so much fun to do that. It's so rewarding, and it really keeps that team play. So that's one of the big elements that you may think it's a small detail, but man, it's huge in Battlefield to have that dimension. And then all the others, just going crazy with the combat system, with the gunplay, the peek, the mounting of the weapons, the crouch sprint, all those things, and the combat roll. So much fun when you're diving out of a window and you combat roll right into the action. Like, it's just an awesome combat experience. So I'm excited about all that. And then, as I said, the destruction's next level. I've been a Battlefield fan forever, and I've always loved the destruction, but I don't think players will have ever seen anything like this. Like, the delight that there is throughout the match of seeing the map transform, the surprises of, like, you think you're hiding behind a wall and all of a sudden it gets blown out, or the floor blows out beneath you, and it's just so much fun. Like, there's just laughter and delight of all these different things that happen within the match.
Dragon Revive is a good pull. It's a good one. Also,
on the topic of Dragon Revive, we were discussing this earlier for anybody not here, but sounds like it could be something that may be abusable, you know, like if you just constantly keep grabbing somebody and then dropping them and grabbing them and dropping them and not actually reviving them, like, that's got to be annoying, especially for streamers. We saw, I don't know who remembers Ash, the little bird king. He got really badly stream sniped in Battlefield 2042 and, like, majorly abused. That was one of the things that it did to him. They kept, like, spamming the revive, and I think DICE had to come in and actually, like, make a major change to the game to stop that from happening. So, like, yeah. Amazing. Thank you so much for the 500 bits, dude. Appreciate that. I'm not sure. There is some stuff so far for creators. Like, there's a streamer mode that was in Battlefield Labs, and this allowed you to hide your name. So instead of appearing as, like, Ghost Gaming, I would be generic, you know, bot username or something. I think that was mostly so I could hide from people within the client, and they wouldn't go, "Hey, you're in Battlefield Labs, Ghost. I know your secret." And by the way, shout out to everybody in the comments section who was like, "Ghost, I know you're in Labs. I've seen you there." I was like, shh, quiet. You know, I'm not allowed. It was kind of a tricky predicament, because I really wanted to talk about everything in Labs, but at the same time, I wasn't allowed to. So whenever somebody asked me, like, "Are you in Labs?" I just didn't answer the question, because I didn't want to outright lie, but I also couldn't say yes without breaking an NDA. You think it won't be an issue, Lideus? I hope not. Don't put it past the Battlefield community to find ways to abuse things, though. There's got to be something, right, that comes in there. Oh, you were in the same team in Labs with Cadwoman? Oh, nice. Yeah, it was nice to see a lot of the people in Labs, though, and be like, "Yo, like, what's up, man?" You know, I wish everybody could have played it. Hopefully, a lot more people are going to get in, because once they've shut down the signups for now, for the Battle Royale, they said that's going to be starting up soon. So I don't know how it's going to work. Like, do we have to apply again? I think everybody who's in labs will like get access to Battle Royale automatically. But since we're able to talk about labs, I do wonder if they're going to have like a different approach where they say, hey, you can't show the footage, you can't show images and videos or sounds or anything from the client, but this time we're going to let you talk about it. Because that could be interesting, because then at least, of course, I hope most of you guys get in, like who want to be in there when the registrations open up again. But at the very least then, at least I can share my experiences of it and we can actually talk about the Battle Royale before it releases. But I wouldn't be surprised if they go back to what they were doing before and they just say, nope, you know, the NDA is like completely locked down. Yo, Catalyst, this one looks like the one. I think it does. You know, it's never say never. I'm slowly edging away from like cautiously optimistic, from skeptical, and like here's cautiously optimistic, and then we're like Battlefield's back, baby. I'm almost there. I'm almost there, dude. I'm pretty much there, to be honest, because I have played it, and my one reservation about the beta and about the release was that there wouldn't have been enough done between labs and between the beta and the release, and it would be buggy and a mess. But from what I've seen, it looks good. It looks pretty polished. It looks I would say if there's one area that I'm not keen on, I think like the gunsmith, a lot of the UI stuff. Maybe it's just me. Maybe you can comment on this as well, Adeus, because I know you've played labs, and for anybody else who's played labs. But I'm not a big fan of just all of the menus. Like, they're lacking just, I don't know, sleekness, if that's even a word. They just don't feel that interesting. It's a bit convoluted, the way you kit out your weapon. Perhaps, again, it's changed now, because I've not seen like that much footage of it from the reveal event. You know, I'm just mostly going on my experiences of labs. But from what I could tell, it sort of just looked the same. Like, in labs, all of the grips, they were just called grip 1, grip 2, grip 3, grip 4. There was like 20 grips, and they were just called grips 1 to 20, and they didn't say what they did at all. So you, like, when you were kitting out your weapon, most of the attachments, you didn't have a bloody clue how to even improve your weapon until, like, some people figured it out. Oh, this grip's, like, the best one. Use that one, guys. But I really thought it looked extremely placeholder. So I'm a bit bummed to not see more there, but at the same time, I do know that like UI is the last part, or one of the last parts of a game to improve. So maybe at launch we're gonna see more, but then again, you know, maybe we're not. I think it could be something that improves in time, but like I very much doubt they're gonna just completely overhaul the UI and the menus and say like, well, here's a complete new and improved menu system. I think we might just see like small subtle improvements to it. Similarly, like the UI in game, like the HUD, I'm not a big fan of it, really. Like, I don't really like the squad down in the bottom left where the minimap is. I think the minimap's fine, but where the squad text is, it just looks kind of like sort of low resolution somehow. I don't know. I feel like Battlefield 2042 had the same issue. And I also am not a big fan of your health bar being tied to that squad panel. I want my health bar in the bottom right where my ammo is, so I can look at the bottom right and say, hey, here's my ammo, here's my health. I can get a quick status check. I don't have to look at like my ammo and then at the minimap and around there. It's probably something I'll get used to the more I play the game, but it just seems like one of those if it ain't broke, don't fix it things. Like, why does it need to be there all of a sudden? This is clearly like nitpicking, you know, it's not the be all end all. The gameplay is the main thing. Like the HUD, it doesn't matter that much. And hopefully there's going to be some nice customization, some legacy options in there for the HUD. But yeah, I think if I had a gripe, that would probably be it right now.
Max Sprint's been a huge discussion out there. I don't know if you guys have any updates or details on that, and if not, any like movement we should be looking out for, because all these titles are now, you know, switching up on how they want to portray their movement. There's a lot of updates for that. I don't know where
we've all seen this clip.
But any updates when it comes to movement?
No.
Gotcha. For when it comes to like long-term fans of the Battlefield franchise, what would be your pitch to them of coming back and giving this title yet another go?
I mean, it is the core DNA of Battlefield. Like, I think we've kind of said that. But,
And there's always comes in at the right
the combat
moment.
system, the controls have been refined to such a level that, it's...
Okay, I got to ask you, Enders, since you're here, man. What is, like, if you've got to give a gripe right now, clearly, like, Battlefield 6 is looking good. It feels like we're back. I think everybody's, they're climbing aboard. Like, they've got their first foot on the first rung of the hype train. They just haven't maybe got all the way up there. But, like, if you've got to give one negative about BF6, like, what would it be if there is one? Because I think for me, I was just saying, like, the HUD, the gunsmith, like, the menus, all that stuff, kind of seems like major placeholder to me. I was really hoping it was just a Battlefield Labs thing, and then I saw the build the other day at the reveal, and I was like, this looks the same. It's just the attachments just have names now. Yeah, what's up, Sam? Welcome, man. Vehicle gameplay and balance, assault sliding, med pen options, menu, yeah, maybe some TTK stuff being too fast. Yeah, definitely agree on most of them. Like the med pen one, so for anybody who doesn't know, they changed the med pen. It's not really a med pen anymore, is it? It's like a stim pen or something. I can't quite remember what it does, but it gives you like faster movement. Does it give you like
has been subbed for 0 months.
faster
They wanted
ADS
to say
speed?
this. Oh, I got a 22-month sub here also. Ghost G18 said Lopper, Ghost G18 Lopper, Ludeu Morty, Ludeu Titsi.
Thanks for the
Ludeu
sub, dude.
Lucy.
This AI shit, this does not sound like me. This is supposed to be me. Like, I put my voice in something, and it does not sound like me at all. Bad job, AI. So yeah, the stim thing, it's basically supposed to like increase your speed and a number of other things. Like, I can't remember them off the top of my head, but that means no self-sustainability for the assault class, no self-healing. You've got to rely on support, and I think that means most players are just going to play support, especially like if you're playing with the open weapons, which is another point. How is that going to work? Because David Serland has come out and already said that there's going to be both available, not just in the beta, but at the launch of the game as well. So does that mean you pick, I want to play Conquest, and then I want to play with open weapons or lock weapons? Is he saying it's going to be a portal option and you can make a server with lock weapons if you like, but otherwise it's going to be open? There are so many questions around that. It's because to me, I don't see how you do it without splitting the player base, right? Yeah, for sure, man. Like, then they must be certain that they're going to get, like, a shit ton of players. Because if you don't, and you start splitting the player base, like, we saw that in Battlefield 2042, right? They consolidated playlists because they didn't have enough players. Like, they didn't want to have, people split between too many of them. But yeah, just to, like, reiterate your thoughts on your worries about vehicles as well, Enders. The vehicles, I've sort of spoken about this in videos over the past couple of days, but vehicles in BF6 are probably like one of the most hit and miss parts of the game for me. I think the ground vehicles are pretty good. The tanks might need a little bit of a faster turret swivel speed because they do a lot of damage, right? Like the HMG on the tank, I had a round where I was gunning, and I shit you not, it does 50 damage. Or was it 4? It's almost 50% HP. It was like 49 damage from one round on the HMG. So you could almost 2-tap infantry with it. Like the power they have is out of this world. But at the same time, you only need like 3 rockets, and engineers have tons of rockets in this game. So it's very easy to get caught with your pants down and get taken out. Like a lot of the maps are pretty small. I keep getting the wrong names for the maps, guys, because I call them Abbasid and Battery, but they're called, like, what is it, Siege of Cairo and the Gibraltar one, right? I can't even remember the actual name of it now, but both of those maps are pretty like pretty small. Feels a bit claustrophobic if you're playing armor. And then with the air gameplay, the last time I played in Capstone, where you can actually have access to the jets and the helicopters, those were both pretty shoddy in terms of movement, and from what I've seen, it looks like movement is similar to when I played it. I was not really impressed. And again, though, they seem like major glass cannons. Like, the jet damage they do on the attack helis, like, you can strafe an attack helicopter, and as long as you are on target when you fire with your cannons, that attack heli is dead. Like, there is no moment of, oh shit, I'm being strafed by a jet, let me pull an evasive maneuver and get the hell out of here. No, you're dead. Like, they are that powerful, but at the same time, they've got so much spread that you can't target infantry. Like, I tried to kill some infantry with them, it was impossible. AGMs seemed kind of useless as well. Like, I don't know, maybe I think I couldn't see smoke in the game, so like 2042 has this issue as well where you'll target somebody with an AGM and you don't see the smoke, but all of a sudden your AGM is no longer targeting them, but the smoke just doesn't render like on time, and then you'll see it kind of come in afterwards. Maybe that's also an issue then in Battlefield 6. But the bombs are pretty good. Like, they get these dumbfire bombs now, kind of like Battlefield 5 planes. You just got like the little circular reticle. You drop the bombs. I think you get like 2 or 3 of them. And I have had a few kills with those. So yeah. Anyway, let's continue a bit, shall we?
It's the DNA of Battlefield taken to the next level. Like, it's a natural progression. It feels so good. It's so responsive. It's, you know, like, if you've had trouble in the past, or, you know, you've had complaints in the past, this system like nails it. Like, the team has done an amazing job with the combat controls. So
yeah, and I think for me, it's made with people who love Battlefield. Like, these are people who've been on the franchise for 20 plus years, who just, their life is Battlefield, and they want to get it right. And so we spent a lot of time, like, early in the project of like, man, we've got to get the DNA of Battlefield right. Destruction, classes, combat, all-out warfare. And I was always excited when we were having these conversations, because there's this notion of like, man, I can't wait until the core sees what we have going on with Battlefield. I feel like this is exactly what they've been looking for. And I think with Battlefield Labs, like, we've been able to get reps with all of them too. It's just like, man, what do you guys think? Like, do you think we nailed it? And all the feedback we've been getting. So I don't say this lightly. It's been an obsession to get Battlefield right for the core.
Just coming in on that there, he says there's a lot of people working there that have been there 20 plus years. Like, I wonder who these people are, because I know that after Battlefield 5, there was essentially a mass exodus of developers from DICE. A lot of them, they followed Lars Gustafsson over to TTK Games. And now I wonder, actually, if the reason Lars left is maybe he was partially being made maybe the scapegoat for Battlefield 2042 and 5 and the failures there, but maybe he kind of felt pushed out by these guys. You know what I mean? Like, you're Mr. Big Battlefield, you're like Battlefield Daddy, and then they bring in this huge guy in the scene called Vince Zampella, and now all of a sudden you've maybe got to like answer to him, or he's your equal. Maybe he just said, nah, screw this. I'm out of here, guys. I'm gonna go make my own studio. Of course, David Sirland has been at the studio a long time, so I know he's there. But I think like the majority of people at DICE right now, they are actually new. So like, there is some new blood there. There's some old blood as well. Will there be any weather events in Battlefield 6? Rain, fog, storm, etc.? I don't think so, Kev. No. We haven't seen any of that. So I guess they figured, like, from Battlefield 2042, people didn't really care about it that much. And I have to say, if they'd have put some of the time they spent making Tornadoes, actually making Battlefield 2042 a better game, it would have been far more enjoyable. So, like, for me, it's, you know, I think weather stuff is like the icing on the cake. It adds to the atmosphere, but it's not the be-all, end-all. I really think Battlefield 6 has a good enough atmosphere with, you know, the destruction. The sound design is crazy good as well, so, yeah. Somebody in Twitch was saying that Silk said the jets are more akin. It was you, Skytez. You said the jets are more akin to Battlefield 4 than they are 2042. That's great news. I mean, I might be wrong about that. Obviously, Silk's had more opportunity, it sounds like, to fly the jets than I have. I only got like a couple of spawns. But all I remember from that map is that you've got mountains on all sides, and you could only just do a 180, come around for a strafe without crashing into them. And it sort of felt like, maybe I'm wrong about the speed control here, right? Maybe I just don't get it. I haven't discovered like what the secret source is, if you will, of the speed control. But it felt to me the same as in 2042, where the more you accelerate, the more you use your afterburners, the tighter you turn. So whenever I was trying to get on the tail of an enemy jet, and I killed a few enemy jets, I basically just spammed afterburners. Now, maybe that's because they were just bad, right? Maybe that's the case, and if I was up against Silk, for example, that wouldn't have happened. But that's just what it felt like for me. So I don't know. Maybe there is some kind of speed control thing in there. It's probably going to be discovered eventually.
Yeah, and that fan feedback has been so important. The lab's feedback has been amazing. It's helped us hone stuff way faster than we ever could have on our own, so that's invaluable.
That was going to be my follow-up question, too. When it comes to taking community feedback, whether it's streamers, creators, diehard players, and whatnot, how does that influence the development cycle heavily, or how do they have hands-on in this experience building the game as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's validating in some respects, right? Like you put something out there, you try something, and to see it work and to see people respond to it well is validating. On the other side of that is, it doesn't always work, right? And so you change things, you dial things in, it's like you can't, without iteration, you can't get to, I wouldn't say perfection, but to the best quality that we have the ability to do. So we need that iteration. The more of it we get, the better we can be.
Can you guys go into a few details on the class system, too, and how that interacts with the weapons? In my understanding, and again, very light hands on the game so far. I'm super excited for this, but everyone I've talked to has talked about the class system and how those weapons are also lightly attached to a class, but not fully stuck. So you can pretty much use whatever weapon you like, but there might be some benefits to using certain weapons with certain classes. Do you mind explaining that a bit more?
I guess I'll start from the notion of so Tom Anderson's our creative director for Battlefield. He's been on Battlefield, probably since day one, and he's like an encyclopedia on the essence of Battlefield, and Serlin is like the maniac on combat. So those two,
Serlin the maniac
it's
again.
Awesome to watch those two operate and talk about classes and the gadgets and how everything works together. I almost wish we could live stream some of their meetings. That they're so fun to watch, and those guys have such expertise. But the notion for it is on the design of the open weapon system is that each class has a signature weapon. So we want there to be a benefit to you playing, like if you're in the recon, like you do have benefits if you play the sniper rifles. But to the same extent, if you love playing recon and you like the gadget set, we want you to be able to play with any weapon that you enjoy. And so I think Tompkins talked about this, like in the past, maybe you chose a class just because of the weapon and you didn't bring all the other skill sets to the team, and they wanted to really fine tune that. So that's the open weapon system. And then we heard through Battlefield Labs and feedback, people are like, man, I really love the closed weapon system. And so we're like, all right, let's do both. Let's let people play the way they want to play. Like, we love the open weapon system. We think people are gonna have a blast with it, but we'll also have the closed weapon system too.
Just let me chime in here before we hear his conclusion to this. So I forgot to mention this in videos, but with Battlefield Labs, I saw a lot of people around the weapon discussion thing saying like, maybe people who are actually playing the game in labs have a different opinion to the rest of the community on YouTube and on Reddit and everywhere else online, and maybe they think like the open weapon system is amazing. No, I can 100% tell you when that first class blog post went out and they announced that the weapons were going to be open, there was just as much Discord in Discord about this thing as there was everywhere else online. Like, the majority of people were still against this. Same thing when the second blog post went out. I think a lot of people kind of came around, and I've always been of the opinion that like, it's not the be-all end-all for me, I don't think it matters that much, but I'm also not sure it's going to like add much to the game. And in that same vein, I'm not really sure it's worth splitting the player base over, but I'm very curious to see how they progress with this, in the full game here, because they have said there's going to be both closed and open weapons available.
You might chirp in on this, so let me know. Any interest in pursuing like a creator program, or is that already a part of the future plans for involving the community at a higher degree?
For us, creators have been essential from the start. Like, our teams have literally traveled the world to get feedback from creators around the world, and we've brought them into the studio. We've had live sessions, one-on-ones. Like, it's been a huge part of it. And then this event for us in Battlefield Labs is the culmination of just like, man, we really value the creator community. Like, they're the essence of the gaming industry, and Battlefield's all about that.
Awesome. We'll work it around if we don't. It's all good. Thank you guys for answering regardless. But when it comes to skin bundles, we see a lot of people flow in different directions on this topic. When it comes to skin bundles or skin collaborations, is that something we can expect to see with Battlefield 6? All right. All good. That's what you're here for. You guys both obviously come from
Wait.
All good. Is that something directions on this topic? When it comes to skin bundles or skin collaborations, is that something we can expect to see with Battlefield 6? All right.
What did she say? Did she just say, like... She just did... That's not a good sign, man. That's not a good sign. Why don't they want to talk about skins, guys? Why don't we want to talk about skins? I feel like they... Okay. So they either feel like whatever they say, it's going to be taken negatively. Yeah, it might not be their call. Fair enough. You want to hear the whole question again? Okay, let me spin back.
Good.
It's all about that.
Awesome. We'll work it around if we don't. It's all good. Thank you guys for answering regardless. But when it comes to skin bundles, we see a lot of people flow in different directions on this topic. When it comes to skin bundles or skin collaborations, is that something we can expect to see with Battlefield 6? All right. All good.
Skin bundles or skin collaborations, and they were just like, no comment. So like, well, I mean, maybe they also want to leave the door open, right? They don't want to say, no, there's not going to be any skin bundles, and no, there's not going to be any skin collaborations. Because as soon as you say that, you're on video saying, like, 100%, no, there aren't going to be any bundles or collaborations. And then they're shutting the door to potentially a lot of money there. So just because they didn't say anything doesn't mean there is going to be that. But yeah, it does worry me that they weren't at least allowed to come in and say, hey, this is like our take on skins here. Like, this is what we want to be doing with them going forward. We want to keep it grounded. We want to keep it authentic. It's not going to get silly. It's not going to get over the top. We're not going to see Beavers and Butthead. I think that's really what people want to hear, right? They just want to have their fears assuaged that nothing's going to get crazy. And I really feel like by this PR lady shutting down that question and not allowing them to answer, that's had the opposite effects. I feel that's kind of sowed a seed of doubt in regards to that. Flashing lights outside. 2042 with a Mass Effect bundle. Yeah, I mean, they did do that. Of course, Mass Effect is EA, right? So, like, that's a collaboration with themselves, really. Are we going to see more collabs with other people, though? Yeah, like Lidea says here, the only collabs were Dead Space and Mass Effect, which are both EA games. The EA lady has a gun pointed at all. She was, yeah. She probably gave them, like, staring daggers into their eyes, like, shut up. Don't talk about the cosmetics. I'm surprised the questions weren't vetted beforehand. I mean, they probably know, they've probably been schooled, right? Like, what they are allowed to talk about. They are, let's not forget, these guys, yes, they're developers, yes, they've made games and they're programmers and whatnot, and they're designers. But for this game, whilst they are managing, you've got to remember they're PR people, right? They're marketing people now. The reason they're doing the interviews is because they have these roles in the company. So, like, they know how to circumnavigate the community. Right now, their goal is to build as much hype, as much positive sentiment around Battlefield as they can. And it's an uphill battle, you know. I mean, Battlefield has just been, quite frankly, shat on for good reason for years now. So now their job, especially wanting to bring in people from other franchises like Call of Duty, like if you hear about Battlefield, you don't want to hear negativity. You want to hear good things, and then maybe you're going to come out and check out the game. And that's what they're really struggling to build up right now. So I think like any time there's a hint of negativity, they just say no. And I think that's probably the reason that myself and Enders, and you know, maybe some others as well. I don't know why SMK, maybe he wasn't invited, but I think that's the reason maybe the two of us weren't invited, that I can obviously see, is that we have been critical of Battlefield in the past. And it seems that they just looked at that and said, well, I don't want to risk, you know, Ghost saying some negative things about the game, even though clearly you can tell I've mostly had positive things to say, like 99% of the time. Maybe they think I would go out of my way to say negative things or something. I don't know, but evidently they weren't prepared to take that risk. Because I can tell you, like, I've been invited, the only events I've been invited for as a creator has been to test the game. So I've tested Battlefield Labs, and I've given direct feedback to the developers on the game, and I tested the class system in Battlefield 2042. But that wasn't a content creator marketing thing, right? That wasn't for me. That wasn't so I could like make a video and get some early impressions or something. That was just to help the developers, essentially, right? I didn't get anything out of it, like personally, for my channel or my growth. So when it comes to those things like marketing, then they're like, no, we don't want you for that. Now we're gonna go to our other crowd of people who we trust to say good things about the game. Yeah, apparently I'm a risk, guys, but you know what? I'd rather that and get to say whatever the hell I want about the game than be compromised, influenced, and for there to be like a conflict of interest there.
That's what you're here for. You guys both obviously come from Call of Duty. Do you guys see this title as competition or a competitor to that, or how do you view that competition outside looking in?
I mean, they've both existed for so long, you know, that together. I think they complement each other in different ways. We have things that they don't. You know, Battlefield, the destruction, the class system stuff. Like it's such an amazing experience. It's different. You know, is it a competitor in a way? Like every other game's a competitor, kind of in a way. But you know, Battlefield is unique and offers things that no one else really can.
I think that's fair. Like COD, I don't know why there's always been this. I think it's just because some years ago there weren't so many other FPS games. There was just like there's COD and there's Battlefield, and those were the big two. But now you've got Apex Legends, you've got Fortnite, you've got all of these extraction shooters, all these battle royales, and really they're just as much competitors for the Battlefield audience as Call of Duty. Like I wouldn't say that Call of Duty is any more similar to Battlefield than like Fortnite, like any extraction shooter or any battle royale. Like they're vastly different games in my opinion. Like you've got kill streaks in Call of Duty, and it's all about getting a nuke and, you know, much smaller like 6v6 game sizes. So I think he's right here. Like they're not just going after Call of Duty, although yes, they did invite a lot of Call of Duty creators. They are basically going after like the whole FPS market, because I think they know the FPS market is pretty stale. I'm very excited to see what Call of Duty put up this year, because like we've seen a trailer so far. I don't think we know much about, what is it, Black Ops? Is it Black Ops 7? I can't even remember the name of the game. I think it's Black Ops 7. It's the next Black Ops game, which kind of came as a surprise because we just had a Black Ops game. So I'm like, what? Another one? But it doesn't sound like it's going to be particularly impressive. I don't think it's going to be this big, at least. Have I seen Ender's recent movement video with Redditors crying about movement? Yes, I have. And I have to say, I mostly agree with Enders on that matter. You know, for me, I do still want there to be like a negativity, a punishment, some sort of a penalty for jumping, for sliding. Like if you slide around a corner, if you jump around a corner, I think there needs to be a penalty, like to weapon sway. But that seems to be in the game. So, like, I don't really see the problem. Yes, like, there are some clips out there of people jumping around a corner and they get a kill. And I can understand if you're on the receiving end of that, it's frustrating. But so are lots of things in Battlefield. Like, people RPG me, in a doorway, and I have an assault rifle, and they had an RPG, and they one-shotted me. That's annoying, but that's just kind of FPS games, right? You're gonna die, and when you die, it's annoying. Is that, like, so much more unfair, though, than all of these other mechanics? I think it's, like, if you actually look in the beta, you'll see that most of the time people try sliding, most of the time people try drop-shotting, jumping around corners, all this sort of stuff. You'll probably find it gets them killed more often than it works. And if that's the case, then I think it's okay. If the opposite is true and it becomes the meta, then maybe yes, it needs to be reined in a bit. Did you see the vote on Modern Warfare's channel when he asked which are you playing? I did, yeah. Everybody seemed to be really going for Battlefield. It's kind of funny because that guy has been posting way more Battlefield news than Call of Duty news, and he's literally like the Modern Warfare channel. A kind of stamina bar. I don't know. I think adding stamina to Battlefield is a bit too milsimmy. I don't think they'd do that.
I feel like she might interject again, but I have to ask. And again, notice it's not going out until obviously embargo tomorrow, so I don't know if that changes anything. Is there going to be a battle royale mode?
Yeah, it's embargoed until after tomorrow's over.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's anything planned for tomorrow.
We did mention there will be surprises at the end tomorrow.
People might have thought might be anti.
Okay, so we know that must have been recorded, like pre-recorded before the battle royale was like announced, but they haven't actually said it's a battle royale, have they? Like they showed the trailer, they were like, oh, correct me if I'm wrong, but they just said, oh, we're also working on something else with our friends at Ripple Effect. They showed a trailer, and it kind of showed like 2 or 3 squads fighting over what looked like a backyard. There was like a swimming pool there in the US, but they didn't say it's a battle royale, did they? Right? They just said this is coming and you're going to learn more soon. Of course, they showed the fire, the circle of fire. It's pretty obvious, right? We've seen the leaks and the data mines anyway. Yeah, Pickleman. EA lady in the back is she's got work to do there.
Anti-cheat, obviously a widespread topic too whenever you talk to devs. Any additionals you guys are going after to pursue that kind of thing and make sure, I know they talked about it lightly on stage saying of course it's going to be a high focus, but any additionals to add on people concerned about that?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that, it's a weird one because you don't want to talk about what you're doing because it gives, people that are trying to cheat a head start against you. It's a huge thing in the industry, in gaming. It's a constant arms race, like that we're always putting a lot of effort into. Like, know that. Like, it is something that we would stamp out completely if we could. It is an arms race, and we will, to the day we die, we will be fighting it. So,
I think it does. I think the destructibility does live up to the hype. There's a lot of design that goes into it that you hear from the developers, like the nuances of it that, you don't want the whole map to be leveled because then you lose all your sight lines, you lose cover and so forth. So it's been meticulous of how to execute the destruction and keep the performance up and keep the map intact. But for me, what I think people are going to delight in is just the the craziness that happens within a conquest match or breakthrough, whatever mode you're playing in, is just, I can't emphasize it enough, that you're running for cover and a tank all of a sudden blows the whole building down, or you're crashing through windows or blowing out floors with C4. It's just, the dimension of the fun for me is at another level. I've never played a game that has that where the destruction is this much fun.
Yeah, I think that's right. And it's about predictability and making, we're not designing a map to be completely destroyed, because that wouldn't be as fun, right? Like, these are people that have spent a lot of time designing something where you can tell what can be destroyed and what can't, and what you can use for cover and what you shouldn't, and where things, destroy around you. Every time you play a match, even though things will destroy in the same manner every time, it's different. Every match is different. Like, I don't think we've ever played a match and said, like, oh, that at the end looks exactly like the last one. There's so much variability in what you can do and where you go, that it works so well, but at the same time, it maintains the quality of the map. And that, for us, that gameplay is so important. That quality of play is so important. So
that sounds really interesting. Yeah, clearly they've given great thought and attention to the detail of, like, the buildings. You can tell, like, the outer walls of buildings can be destroyed, the upper floors especially, but some walls, like especially the inner walls, can't be destroyed, so you can't completely destroy buildings. You guys are also going to see in the beta, like on the Gibraltar map, there are lots of buildings with staircases, and some of the staircases get taken out. So then it's this interesting play where normally there's 2 staircases up to a building. So if you know there's somebody, let's say, at this end of the building, right? You take this staircase and you shoot them down the corridor because you know they're at the other end. Then all of a sudden, you'll play another round and one of the staircases is, like, missing, and you're like, oh, dude. Then you've got to go take the other one. Like, there's always going to be one way to get up to that floor if the building is still around. But I think my most impressive moments from, like, the labs playtesting was definitely on the Gibraltar map, the battery map, because there were just so many buildings there. It was just, like, insane. Like, when you're in and around buildings and they're being blown to splinters and wood's flying everywhere and concrete's flying everywhere, it really just, is super, super atmospheric. Did I hear ladders are in Battlefield 6? So, yes, it does seem like they are. They weren't in labs at all. Like, I've not seen a ladder until I saw the trailer, but yeah, it looks like you're going to be able to, like, use ladders. So maybe that's going to be there, again, an additional way that you can climb up to those second floors. You definitely fooled me about being in Labs Ghost. I suspected other creators in there, even Enders, but not you at all. Yeah, I mean, I have to say, I've seen people before in Labs saying, like, I don't know how the hell Ghost, like, manages to report on the news whilst also not giving anything away. Yeah, I would have really loved to be able to talk to you guys about it, though. Obviously, I wasn't in labs the whole time, so, everybody in the EA Creator Network got in, and I wasn't in there for, like, several tests. And then eventually, I think Enders got in just before I did, and then I got in after him, and we started testing and stuff like that, So, in a way, I felt bad because I felt like I was being disingenuous. Like, I tried to stay away from questions that I couldn't answer. So if you said, Ghost, are you in labs? I would just not answer you, right? Because I don't want to outright lie to your face and say no. But I can't also say yes because I would be kicked out of labs for breaking an NDA. So I really just had to sort of not comment on certain things, which is a bit hypocritical because, like, look at these two not commenting on the cosmetics, right? But I just could not pass up the opportunity to test the game and give my feedback and tell them, like, this is what I want from a game. Even if it doesn't mean that much in the grand scheme of things, after sitting here on YouTube for 4 years, making content on a game that nobody likes and negatively critiquing it, I had to now, I couldn't turn around and say, no, I'm going to pass up that opportunity. I needed to say, yes, okay, I'm going to do whatever I can to make the game better. And I did give my feedback on stuff like double engineer launchers. I told them that, like, how did they even get that idea to begin with? I have no idea how they thought that could be interesting. the weapon sling thing for assault, the open weapon system, all these things, right? I gave a lot of critical feedback on, and a lot of other people did as well. And I think it was all of those voices together saying like, this is not a good idea, DICE, that caused them to change their tune on that. So, you know, it was important. Glad you didn't talk about the alpha testing. Don't want you to fall into EA's bad graces. Yeah. Not any more than I already am, at least. Wait, were you not in labs, SMK? That surprises me, dude. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I had to whine, and I did a lot of whining. Like, it sounds lame, but I whined a lot to the community managers. I'm like, dude, like, I had no shame at all in saying, like, invite me right now. Like, let me in, dude. Like, because I wanted to, like, have my say on it. And eventually, like, they were like, oh, yeah, I should probably, like, process your application now, Ghost. And I was like, oh, okay, finally. But, you know, I was thankful to be in there at the end of the day. Hopefully, I'm going to maybe be able to, like, I don't know, maybe someday me and EA will get on again. Maybe they'll get on with Enders. I feel like we both, especially Enders, changed our tunes. You know, he's become a lot more positive now. I know a lot of people don't like, whenever I see stuff about Enders posted on Reddit, I see a lot of hate for things he's done in the past. And, like, whilst I understand that to a degree, like, I've spoken to Enders plenty. I've done a podcast with him in that. And, like, I genuinely think he's a decent guy. Like, you know, he just wants what's best, and I think he's extremely passionate. He's maybe, like, made some mistakes in the past, but then so have I. Maybe I've said some things that were out of line and that. So who knows? Maybe going into the future, because this game is going to be more successful, because it's going to be more positive, hopefully we'll have, like, equally strong opinions, but in a more positive way instead of a negative way, right? And maybe then EA will feel like they want to work with us in some capacity. But to tell you the truth, I don't really care that much about working with EA, but I think the way they go about things is extremely backwards. Because if I was in their position, I would say, hey, we should, like, try to get Enders and Ghost on board. Like, we should try to get them in a more positive mindset and maybe treat them with a little bit more respect. So maybe they do likewise to us, right? They respect us. They have, you know, that base level there, and they'll give us the benefit of the doubt. But instead, they basically do things to push us further away and show us that they don't respect us and they don't care about us as creators. And so I don't give two fucks if EA fail, right? Like, I can say whatever I want about them because they don't show any respect in return. So I don't know, guys. It's if I was, like, in charge of things there, I'd do it that way. Maybe I sound entitled, you know, maybe I just sound like I'm too much in my own head and I can't see, I need to take an inwards look at myself. And I definitely have thought about that before, you know, maybe I do need to improve, and maybe there's some things that I say that I don't need to say. You know, a lot of the things on Twitter, I kind of bite my lip these days. I think, like, oh, I want to post this. And sometimes I find myself deleting the post because I think, well, this is just, like, negativity. Like, do I really need to say this? Yes, it's my opinion, but it's not really constructive. If I feel that way about my opinion, I try to sort of stay my own hand and say, well, you know, this is not, like, helping. It's just kind of building up more bad sentiment around the game or something. So I'm not going to post this. And maybe in the past I haven't done that as much. So I am sort of trying to make an effort to do that without, you know, I'm still saying what I think. But some things, like, you don't need to say everything that's on your mind. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Are the flight and physics similar to Battlefield 4? It's hard to say, Kyle. I would say no from my experience, but I've had very limited testing experience. I want to make that clear. Like, every labs test was 2 hours long. I had one test where the jets and the helis were available. all the other ones I played in was like infantry and ground armor, and I didn't feel that way. But apparently, according to Silk, who's played it way more than I have, apparently, he says yes, it is similar. So once the beta comes out, I'm going to be streaming that a lot. I'm going to try and like really do a bit of no-lifing, staying on the spawn screen and getting jet spawns so I can get a proper feel for them and try and figure out like, is there a speed control model there? And I'll make like a more in-depth video on it when the time comes around. Yeah, Portal is it's one of those interesting things where it could be super cool or it could be like a nothing burger again. I don't know. We've seen that you can manipulate assets within a map. So my first knee-jerk reaction was like, "Oh my god, they've released a map editor for Battlefield." But I don't think it is quite that simple. It seems like you choose a map and then you are able to manipulate certain assets within that map. And like, they obviously did the same thing with Portal 1.0, where they really only advertised it as like a mode to make silly game modes. So like in Battlefield 2042, they showed it with like, oh, you can do one tank versus 30 EOD bots. In this game, they showed people, you know, making like a freeway up into the sky. And you were like, oh, you can be like, you know, and there was like a circle of jets and somebody was like flying through the circle of jets. And I was like, this seems a bit short-sighted. Is this all this mode is going to be for? Like, stupid modes? Like, sure, like, they might be fun for a little while. Like, you know, some fun arcade modes. Like, if you've gotten tired of all that warfare, of breakthrough, and of conquest, you can jump in there. But those sorts of modes get really boring really fast. You know, it's like a gimmick. It's like you play it once and that's it. You're not going to play it again. So I hope it's going to be better than that. I hope the community are going to be able to make some actual proper game, serious game modes. Maybe some competitive things, right? Like, a lot of people want that. Maybe some brand new maps. Like, yeah, I would... I'd love to see that. So, like, I'm hopeful, but I'm not super sold on it yet. Oh, cheers, Kyle. I appreciate that, man. Yeah, I used to be a big Battlefield 4 pilot back in the day. I guess most people follow me these days for news more than jet tutorials, but that's kind of where I started.
A lot of people out there, myself included, are probably like really curious what a day in both your shoes looks like on a day-to-day. Those details have to be quite interesting. But throughout this whole development cycle, what would you say is like one of the biggest challenges you personally have faced with this title?
That's a good one. I mean, it's not to complain, right? Because it's like I feel so lucky to get to do what I do every day, right? There's hundreds of people across a 9-hour time zone difference, like, you know, different cultures, different, you know, workflows in different studios, and getting them all to come together, and like watching Byron kind of balance all that stuff together. Like, I'm in awe every day of the ability that he's able to kind of just see across all this and see through all that and hone it together. So like, it's a behemoth, but the results have been just so amazing. Like, we set out to do something and we're there, like to like remember the start of this and just like sitting down and like talking about like what we wanted to do, the vision, and like to be here where we are today.
I agree. For me, coming here, you know, was to work with Vince again, and to work on Battlefield, for me, it's a privilege. It's an honor. Like, this is one of the most iconic and coolest franchise, I think, in all of entertainment. There's just nothing like it with the large-scale warfare, all the innovation that this franchise has had. So for me, I would probably say the hardest and the most fun part is living up to the expectations of Battlefield. It's just like the standards that we hold ourselves up to. And so when I look around at the different studios, like, that's what I want our fans to come away with, is like, man, we're dead serious about this. Like, we want to get the combat right, the destruction right, the classes right. And so for me, that's been, I wouldn't say hard, but that's the part that, you know, on a daily basis, like, is it good enough? enough? Is it good enough? Like, can we get it better? Like, are people having fun? Like, do they delight in it and so forth? So for me, that's kind of all I think about is like, man, is this the greatest Battlefield game we can make?
I'll tell you, this guy.
Good big boots to fill, isn't it? Like I gotta say that, man. Like taking on this job of trying to bring Battlefield back from where it was, it's not an easy challenge, is it? I read that you can't make new maps, just edit existing ones. Yeah, that's what I thought as well. But I mean, how far does that extend, right? Can you take every single asset in a map, like every wall, and move it around and essentially make like a new map? Can you take all the terrain, right? As far as I know, you can't mess with like the ground. You can just take like the building maybe and say, oh, here's like a building, it's this set piece, and you can move it over there. Yeah, take care, SMK. Go and check him out, guys. If you haven't subbed to SMK on YouTube, by the way, great creator, definitely worthy of a sub. Hey, Ghost, what are your thoughts on the Assault class? To me, it feels like it's made for new players coming from COD. It's all about movement, double primaries, adrenaline pen, faster ADS. I mean, I don't really feel that way, but they're trying to give it something, because if you go and compare it to Battlefield 4, you know, BF4, Assault had the med bag, they had, what else did they have? They had the revives. So really the Assault class was like the best class in the game, in my opinion, because that's really what they had going for them there. Yo, Junda, coming in with a huge raid, man.
Oh, yeah. Junda is awesome because they bring the Thunder Brother. Raiding Ghost with 434 viewers is like dropping an atomic elbow right into the competition. It's about that energy, that excitement, and
what
lifting
the
whole community. Yeah. Junda knows how to turn the spotlight on and spread the love, making sure everybody feels it. That's how you do it in the ring of life. Dig it.
What the hell is this, man? I don't know. I did not know that was going to happen, guys. Not even kidding you. Thank you for the raid, though, man. We're just chilling out, watching some Battlefield 6 interviews here, kind of talking about the game. So welcome to everybody. I hope you had an awesome stream, Junda. Just talking about good creators, by the way. If you guys want to watch an incredibly skilled infantry player, definitely check out Junda. He is going to be streaming Battlefield 6, I think, like crazy. Right, dude? Don't let me down. So definitely go through him a follow, man. But yeah, to come back to your point on the Assault class, I think they're really sort of clutching to find something that the Assault class needs, because now they don't have the heals. They don't have any heals at all, in fact, because they've changed the med pen to be a stim pen. They don't have the revives. So if they remove the pen entirely, if they'd remove the weapon sling entirely, what would be left on the Assault class? Basically, just a grenade launcher. And then let's consider that the weapon system is going to be open, at least if you want it to be. So then the Assault class don't even get assault rifles. Anyone can have an assault rifle. So Assault class to me is kind of looking like it might not be the best class. I think support is going to be far superior to Assault, because the med bags that they have now give you ammo, they give you gadget ammo, I think, as well, and of course they heal you, and they've got faster revives. So if you can take an assault rifle with support, that's probably what most people are going to play. Now, that being said, they have said that there's going to be 2 playlists, I think, at least in the beta. I'm not sure how it's going to work in the launch of the game, but you're going to be able to pick between locked weapons and open weapons. So I'm extremely curious how this is going to play out. You know, are you going to have it so you choose a game mode and then you choose whether you want to play with open or locked weapons, and it will matchmake you into that server? Or are they just saying like, oh, if you want to make a Portal server with locked weapons, you can do that, but otherwise, as default, it's going to be open? I'm not really sure. Anyway, let's crack on.
Last closing question for you guys. It's been awesome. One of the parts in the trailer reveal that I saw that looked really interesting was Portal. Obviously, updates coming that way, but when it comes to the whole creative mode or community made maps and modes side of things, is that going to be a strong focus for you guys this year going forward?
Yeah, definitely. We want to raise the profile of Portal. We've always thought it's just awesome to put that kind of power in the players' hands. Like they're so creative. It's such a great community, and so that was the big effort. Is like, man, can we make Portal more powerful? Can we give our players more tools? So the notion of the spatial editor, the UI scripting, the AI scripting is like, man, with these kind of tools in our players' hands, like, who knows what they're going to come up with. And so that's one element of like, man, let's give the players more power to create things in Portal. But the other thing is like, let's put Portal front and center. And so the idea we've always had is like, man, if people are creating awesome stuff, it goes right on the front end UI next to
nice.
the main conquest mode. Like, that we want to celebrate the creations of our players. And then the third element is like, and reward them with XP. Like, give people XP for playing these insane creations from our players. Like, that's just as much fun as a lot of the other parts of the game. So, we want to make sure people are getting progression and things like that. So we spent a lot of time on like, how do we do Portal way better than it's ever been done before? So we're excited. Like, even the stuff that, we didn't show today, but like, there's crazy stuff that our team has put together in just a matter of days. You're like, I can't believe you can do that with Portal, and I think our players are gonna surprise us even more.
Okay, so that's pretty interesting there. They're gonna have the Portal modes. Like, if you make a mode and it's becoming incredibly popular, maybe there's gonna be like a promotional space where like this is like the hot mode that everybody's playing, and it's right there next to Conquest. That could be pretty awesome. I think he came in on XP there, so that was one of the major problems with Battlefield 2042's Portal mode, is that they released it. What did everybody do? They made XP farm servers, and DICE reacted by removing all XP gained in Portal, which then resulted, of course, in nobody playing Portal. So Portal just kind of died right there when the game released. So it seems like, I don't know how they're going to stop people farming XP. It's going to be very interesting. Like, the way he speaks about it, he says he can't believe some of the creations that are coming out of here. Like I was saying earlier, just for the people who came in on Twitch, it seems like you're going to be able to mess around with assets in the map, but you can't create like an entire new map, right? You can't say, okay, here's my like grass tool. I'm going to put grass down over here, like you would with a real-time strategy game. So I don't know. It sounds like it could be really good. Like there's a lot of potential there, but I guess we'll see how it actually pans out. So what's going on here? Who is the interviewer? Sounds like this guy who thinks he is in the community. The interview is actually a channel I've never heard of. It's this YouTube channel. It's called Gaming Interviews. A very small channel, and he was lucky enough to get an interview here with Vince and Byron. Ghost, what's your take on adding dolphin dive and leaning in Battlefield 6? Dolphin diving, I mean, if it's a problem, and I think this goes for all movement things, jump peeking, sliding, crouch running, all this sort of stuff. If it's a problem in the beta, if the meta becomes sliding around corners and shooting people, if the meta becomes jumping around a corner and shooting someone in a doorway, I think DICE will just react by, reining it in. They'll increase the penalty that you get to your weapon sway until it's no longer an effective aggressive tactic. Like, I think the way they're trying to balance this is that they want these things to be more defensive abilities. I think these things have always existed, though, in Battlefield games before. So for everybody in Twitch, I don't think drops are active at the moment. So, yeah, it's kind of confusing because we're talking about drop shots, but some people are talking about beta code drops. They don't have the drop going at the moment, guys. So I'm hopeful that next week they're going to put drops back on for Twitch. So anybody who doesn't have early access yet for the beta can get in there for the Thursday and the Friday. If they do put drops back on, I'll try my best to like stream both on YouTube and Twitch, so you guys can grab a code there. By the way, for anybody who doesn't have a code, I was stating this earlier. I think I've still got the tweet open. Oh no, it's disappeared. Yeah, damn it. Oh, there we go. So Kevin Johnson, the community manager for Battlefield, he says here that there will be plenty of opportunities this coming week to pick some codes up if you keep your ears to the ground with community spots like Discord. So you might want to be in the Battlefield Discord if you need a code still and you're not there, because they're probably going to put an announcement giving away a bunch of codes for the game. And like, it wouldn't surprise me if at the same time they do that, they like also put Twitch drops back on.
Yeah, I remember I come from a world where Quake mods, and we would hire people off of like amazing mods that they did on the internet. So I have a secret desire to like find the best of the best and like, target them for maybe they maybe they should come work with us.
What would that next spiritual success?
That was pretty awesome, actually. So interesting interview there. It's kind of nice to see them being, open and transparent and willing to take on questions, guys. I really got to get the chats. I'm just looking at the chat now on the scene, and it's only the Twitch chat. I'm going to try and change it so we get the YouTube chat scrolling here as well. Yeah, they did skip the skins. That's true. That was... Let me go and... For anybody who's new, I'm going to go and try and find that again. Although I don't think it's actually timestamped, that video.
At the point.
Oh, it is timestamped. But I don't think he's put a timestamp on it because they didn't really answer the question. No, he's not. He's not timestamped it. Anyway, basically, he said, what is your approach to skins? Are there going to be any, like, crazy skins coming in there or what? And basically, there is a PR lady behind the camera with the guy who's doing the interview. And she just went like, no, you are not allowed to answer that question. So, yeah, that didn't happen. Yo, thank you for the raid. And the spam. Appreciate it. Welcome. Yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen there with, like a lot of the cosmetics in the game. Like the fact that they didn't want to answer it is a little bit worrying for me. But at the same time, it could just be that they don't want to commit to any specific answers there. So they were basically asked, are there going to be any skin packs? Are there going to be any skin collaborations? Stuff like that. And they might want to do that in the future. I don't think it's necessarily cause for concern. Like, unless they're going to team up with Beavis and Butthead or Nicki Minaj, then yes. Like, maybe there is. But outside of that, I think it'll be okay. I don't mind skins, just don't look any further than Counter-Strike. They have the best skins. Like, I've already seen people... Let me go find the... I don't know if you guys have seen the skins for the Phantom Edition. Let's see. I think I saved this somewhere. Yeah, so here's the Phantom Edition, right? A lot of people have problems with these skins. I don't. By the way, this dude is obviously like Pac from BF4, right? Like the Battlefield 4 campaign squad, they were called like Tombstone Squad. So this has got to be a bit of a throwback to Pac here. These are very much like tier 1 skins in 2042, aren't they? But, like, I don't think they're amazing, but I don't mind them. Like, they've also got to do something with the cosmetics in the game, haven't they? You've got to give them a little bit of artistic leeway to make it interesting. Like, they have to be enticing for people to buy them, but at the same time, they have to be balanced so that they're not too ridiculous. I think the problem with Battlefield 2042 skins, at least for me, is that, like, I just didn't care about it. Like the skins, A, weren't really good enough, and B, I didn't like the characters, right? Maybe if you are attached to like a campaign character, you're more likely to buy a skin for that character because it's your favorite character. But let's be real. Who is going to say that any specialist from Battlefield 2042 is their favorite character? Because when that game came out, they had these ridiculous voice lines there. You know, so I don't know. I don't think that's gonna work. Oh, no worries, California girl. I appreciate it. Hopefully you can choose different camos and such for the Phantom Pack. Yeah, that would be kind of nice. That would be nice to see. We do have one more interview to go over here, guys. It's like... Let me check the video, though, first, because it's like 2 hours long. I don't know if part of the video is an interview. Or... Oh, no, okay, no, my bad, it's not 2 hours long. It's like... Whoa! My bad. Sorry about blasting your guys' ears out. Let me get this ready. His intro is incredibly loud, apparently. Oh, this one's actually with different people as well. It's with Ryan MacArthur and some chick. I actually can't remember her name, but she was in the reveal thingy. I raided Brecky, but I had your stream open because I had someone else's stream open who raided you. Oh. I see. Okay, I was wondering, like, I didn't get a raid notification, but, like, I got, like, the message for it. It's all good, though. I guess you were watching Junda, maybe? I don't know. Junda raided me earlier, so it could be something to do with that. Is Brecky streaming again? I'm going to go... When we're done here, guys, I'm probably going to go and raid Brecky then, because... I used to watch a lot of Brecky back in Battlefield 4. He's a really great infantry player. And I think he's looking to come back. I think a lot of creators are going to come back for Battlefield 6. You know, it's going to be... It's going to be competitive, man. Definitely a good thing, though. Honestly, I think my biggest concern is making the game pay to win. How would you think the game's going to be pay to win, though, Venom? Like, they are not gonna implement, like, hey, you can buy a gun. That's not gonna happen, dude. Like, they didn't even do that for Battle. They didn't even mess up that badly for 2042. So there is zero chance that that's gonna happen for this game. X Factor's coming back. Yeah, he is. X Factor is coming back, but I feel as though he's kind of changed a lot. Like, he's really... Like, I understand him to some degree. He's kind of mega... Not, like... Well, he is negative about the game, but he's a bit conspiracy theory, if you know what I mean. And I think a lot of it comes from a good place, though. Like, he just wants the game to be good. He's saying what he thinks. He's telling it how it is. And, hopefully that's going to be good for the game as well, you know. Yeah, I agree with you, Frieda, that they're never going to make it pay to win. Whatever happened to Nickerman? Well, I saw him actually comment on a video and ask if the jets were any good. And somebody said no, and then he was like, okay, I'm going to sit this one out. Fun fact, by the way, I basically stopped making content when Battlefield 1 released. And I had this series called Jet Domination, right, where I would fly the jets in Battlefield 4 and try to basically destroy the enemy team. And as soon as I stopped making content, along came Nickerman and basically, like, did the exact same idea, but with Battlefield 1 planes. And I think I actually missed a trick there, because he absolutely blew up. It may be he's somewhat more entertaining than me, I don't know. But I remember thinking, like, damn, why didn't I stick around for that, dude? But yeah, I skipped Battlefield 1, I skipped Battlefield 5. I guess World War wasn't really my cup of tea. I preferred jets, I preferred modern jets. So I only came back with 2042, and that wasn't that great. Anyway, let's get on to this one, guys. So this interview is coming out of Danny Pena. again, like this interview only has 1,000 views. And this guy's got like 5,000 subs, so let's give this a watch. This is Ryan MacArthur. I think is he a producer? We've seen him in a lot of DICE stuff. He was in the presentation, of course, and this lady was here as well. I can't quite remember her name. He's probably going to introduce them, though.
All right, we're live here at the Battlefield 6 multiplayer review event, and we have...
I'm Alma Talbot. I'm a director of production at Motive. I work on single player.
There you go.
All right.
I'm Ryan MacArthur. I'm the executive producer for Battlefield 6.
I know we can't talk much about the single player experience yet, but can you say anything about the single player? I know that in the future you're going to be talking about it, but one question from that is the stuff that we got to see, is that also part of the single player? At least like the levels or anything like that? Or yes or no? Can you say at least?
I would say like the settings of the single player campaign are all across the world. And part of what I can say about single player today is about how it helps to establish the world of Battlefield 6. So what we started with trying to imagine, like, you know, what might happen if the world of NATO kind of collapsed, if countries started to pull out of NATO, what might that look like? We wanted to have an experience that feels kind of grounded. So we started to ask ourselves those questions. That's kind of where we came up with this idea of like a crumbling NATO up against sort of Pax Armada, which is a PMC, a private military corporation, and these two kind of factions sort of face off. Pax being sort of funded by this sort of shadowy coalition, mysterious coalition of countries that are sort of seizing power under these circumstances where NATO is destabilized. And it sort of helps to establish the world of Battlefield 6, and we get to explore that more in the multiplayer as well.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. And for you, Ryan, my question is, there's been multiple Battlefield throughout the years, and what are the things that worked out from those games? You're like, hey, we should add this and this, but plus more.
I think when you look at, and I think, you know, today, I mean, Tom went into this well as creative director. I think, you know, for us, we went back and looked at, you know, where has the franchise, you know, been successful? Where have we done things well? And looking back at all the games we've made, I think you know, this game is intended to be sort of a spiritual successor to 3 and 4. When you look at 3 and 4, I mean, classes were done well. Destruction was, you know, was solid. The gunplay and the through the gun experience was great. You know, you build off of Destruction that we take from Bad Company 2 and things. And I think a lot of those things fed into the team's direction and vision for this game as starting points, and for us to build this franchise back to where we wanted, you know, back to where we wanted this game to be, really focusing on those elements of tactical destruction, of class gameplay being meaningful, and of that sort of core combat through the gun experience being, you know, as tight as it can be.
It's right. They keep referencing Battlefield 3 and 4 a lot here. Like they've said that Battlefield 2042 was the spiritual successor to Battlefield 4 as well, though, which obviously it was totally flopped, right? It was anything but. But I do actually feel it with this game. Like after playing labs and stuff, I feel like it's closest to BF3. Like I feel almost like I'm back in BF3 again in 2011, which is crazy because like my very first video was like on Battlefield 3 when I've played previous Battlefield games, but that was kind of like where I started here on YouTube, like at the tail end of BF3. So that's kind of wild. I do wonder with the narrative in the campaign. We don't really know much about the campaign so far, but you know, is it going to tie in to Battlefield 2042? Are they trying to connect that lore? Because at the moment, it seems like they're trying to both simultaneously do everything the players are asking for. So they've really gonna look like, what do the community want? Okay, destruction, right? We want a game like BF3 and BF4. They're trying to tick all those boxes. But then at the same time, they've been really being careful to steer clear of anything Battlefield 2042. Like anything connected to Battlefield 2042, they are just trying to like stay away from it. Like that's that is tainted goods right now. The only thing I don't like is it's a PMC. You don't feel as connected, at least in my opinion. Like in BF4, I thought it was really cool to straight up play as China and Russia. I get what you're saying there, but think about the cosmetics. Right, if you've got all of these different countries in that PMC, then that's going to be cool, right? Because maybe you can make cosmetics based on certain countries, based on their armies and whatnot, or the Air Force, the Navy. I don't know, like, if they're going to bother doing that. Based, like, looking at the Phantom Edition cosmetics there, maybe they're not going to go that direction. But we don't really know which countries are in which, because I think we all assume that France will be part of NATO. But it seems France actually left NATO, and they're in PAX. So that's, you know, kind of intriguing. I don't think Firestorm's a great map, but okay, better than nothing. I really like Firestorm. I mean, maybe it's because I'm a Jet guy, but Firestorm was it was my jam.
From a Battlefield experience.
I know you guys are gonna have an open beta. That's actually next month, right? In a couple of weeks, right? So
Yeah, it's going to be open beta will be August 9th. So, you know, just over a week from now.
yeah. So the stuff that we got to play, is that part of the beta we're gonna get to see, or we're gonna get to see other stuff that's not included in this event this evening?
So the experience that you guys have gotten to play today, that's what our players are going to get to experience when they all jump into open beta. So that's a very good vertical snapshot of what you will see and experience inside of Battlefield 6. But obviously, we've kept some things back so that players will have some new things to discover at launch.
Yeah.
So yeah, for anybody who didn't get that there, I also covered it in today's video. But everything that was at the reveal event, so I think there's going to be like 4 maps. So the 3 maps from Battlefield Labs. So that is the one up in the mountains in Tajikistan, the one in Cairo, the Siege of Cairo, and then also the one in Gibraltar. And then there's going to be the 4th map that wasn't in Battlefield Labs, which is the Empire State one. So that's pretty generous. That's all going to be in the beta. 4 maps. And I think there's Conquest, there's going to be Domination, TDM. I think it's probably the biggest beta that we've seen from Battlefield ever. Like, I remember the Battlefield 4 beta, it was 1 map. It was Siege of Shanghai, and that was it. I think they opened up one other map later on in the beta. But I think they're really confident in this product. Like, the fact that they are, like, they're not making people pre-order to get into the beta. They're not even making people pre-order to get into the beta early. They're giving us a lot of content. They're really just saying, here's the game. Like, go and play it. See what you think. Because we think we've got an awesome product. You'll notice that they did the opposite with Battlefield 2042, right? Instead, they hid everything. There was a gameplay reveal. It was a scripted gameplay, you know, constant cuts between the gameplay. And we didn't know anything until we got the beta. And then the beta was terrible. And then they said, oh, it's an old build. It's going to be better in the full release. And the full release was, of course, terrible. So we're seeing a much different, like, the dichotomy between these 2 releases here is pretty crazy. There are no drops on at the moment, guys, on Twitch. I see people asking about drops or, you know, doing exclamation drops. Hopefully, they're going to come back. I don't know. You'll have to contact EA and be like, yo, make the drops back. Actually, let me just go check my dashboard and, like, make sure that that's not the case. Let's see. Viewer rewards. Yeah, they did. So what they did yesterday, they opened up the drops. Battlefield 6. They opened up drops for like 6 hours yesterday. So from 2 o'clock in the afternoon until 8 p.m. they opened drops, which was a little bit surprising that they would just randomly do that. And then they closed them down. I don't know why they're closing the drops. Like, I think they should just open drops. Anybody who wants a key can get a key by watching somebody for an hour and job done. But yeah, hopefully they do open them back up again. If I had access to Battlefield Labs, do I get early beta access this Thursday? Yes, you do. You should have gotten an email, FOMO. I've gotten my email already. And in fact, even if you didn't get access, if you just signed up to Labs, like you went in the playtesting thing, you logged in there and you signed up for Labs, but you didn't get accepted, you should also get an email with early access. And I think the way it works is you don't have to redeem a key or anything. They will just flag your account, your EA account that's connected there with the early access. So you just download it on whatever client.
I know that you know, I was in the crowd, and as soon as you guys talked about our portal, the crowd went nuts. When we got to see the trailer in there, can you guys talk a little bit about that? What is so cool about this new thing?
I mean, yeah, I'm sure Alma has a ton of that as well. But I think for me, Portal, the big focus for us on Portal with this time around is to really deliver and showcase the power of Portal, expanding and evolving the tool set to allow creators to build their own Battlefield experiences with a new spatial editor, the ability to move things around the map, the new Godot tool that the team has built off of, and really sort of focus on that, creator power as well as sort of just the overall Battlefield fantasy, and connecting that into the community so that we can have these community experiences that we can more easily share in game for players to play.
Yeah, I guess I would that was a fantastic answer. The only thing I would add to that is I think one thing we're really excited about for Battlefield 6 is the amount of variety we're being able to bring to our player base. So Portal is a fantastic example of that, being able to deliver this tool set to deliver community experiences, and like Ryan said, to put that at the forefront, to be able to have players create their own experiences and show that off. That's really something that we're super excited to see what people do with that at launch. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited too, because sometimes the community will create something and the studio will, hey, we should have this in the game. This is really cool. So you're probably going to see tons of those things in the future, right?
It's cool to see things that we play test on our side. We go, oh, this is going to be sick. We can't wait for people to experience this or that. But what's even better is when we see our players start to do things that we never expected, or use tools or use the core systems in ways that we didn't anticipate. So that's a really fun part about working on Battlefield 6.
So Portal has a lot of potential, guys. Anyone who knows anything about modding, you'll know that you give the community the tools, and they, just like she's saying, they will surprise you, right? Games have come out of mods. Dota came from a mod. Counter-Strike came from a mod. Obviously, this is not going to be that expansive. It sounds like you can just take assets within a map and you can move those assets around. But if you can maybe change at least every single asset in the map, maybe you can't change the size of the map, you can't change the terrain and whatnot, but you can take every single asset away, maybe add new assets. So, let's say this building A here from Gibraltar, it's just one asset thing, right? You select it in a menu and you drop it into this map, and now that building is there. It's probably going to be fairly rudimentary, it has to be something that's accessible for everybody and people can figure out, okay, this is how it works. Is that Alexia one of the producers? No, she works for Motive, I think she said. So she is working on mainly the campaign. Ryan MacArthur, I believe he said he was the executive producer. I will be putting out a video tomorrow, guys, about server browser. There's been quite a lot of news on the server browser actually coming out of Alexia Christofi since you mentioned her. There's been a big conversation about that, them asking us why we want a server browser, essentially. Not because they don't know, but because they're sort of just interested in hearing our reasonings. Those skins in the Phantom Edition look like 2042 skins, especially the Recon skin. Yeah, I see what you mean with that. I don't hate the skin. With Battlefield 2042 skins, I don't mind them, but they also didn't really impress me. I would not buy those skins, Do we get access to the beta tomorrow? No, it's on the 7th. So early access starts on the 7th.
Can't wait to see more of that. You have anything you want to add, Ryan?
No, I think yeah. I mean, yeah. I guess the one thing for me is I love about one of the strongest things in Battlefield is the community, right? And the community, as you say, they do things that we don't even think of. But the other great element of Portal is it's a great way for people to bring their communities together and allow sort of like-minded players in even low populated regions or to play a certain way, gives them that power and that ability to find each other. And that for us has always been an important part of Battlefield.
And how was it, working with so many different studios working on this project together? How was that?
I'll let Alma go first. She was she got to jump into the
Yeah. So working at Motive, we're kind of like the new kids on the block for Battlefield. We come with a lot of experience working on the single player campaign, story-driven work. And what I can say is that everybody on Battlefield has been super welcoming. I don't know any other franchise where we would have the opportunity, all of us, to be able to work with industry veterans, work with people with such a variety of expertise and backgrounds. So, going from working on a game like Dead Space, which was an experience in its own right.
Classic, by the way.
Yeah, love that game. To working on Battlefield, which is a whole new kettle of fish, something completely different in a lot of ways. But at the same time, we know that we've come with experience of wanting to deliver on a core fantasy to a franchise, and being able to do that on a project like Battlefield with so many fantastic people who have a lot of experience, who bring a variety of expertise. That's like an unparalleled opportunity. And it's really been very welcoming and very collaborative. Like, everybody brings something different. Everybody has their different cultures, their different ways of working, which can be challenging at times, but really we're all just laser focused on delivering the best Battlefield experience that we can. And having so many people be able to rally around that has been very galvanizing.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost at the best, but for me, it's now many years in the franchise. It's been probably one of the best things that could happen to us as a development team, and bringing in different experiences, allowing us to look at things in a different way, allowing us to solve problems that we may have struggled with before. I mean, it's been game changing for us, and having Motive come in, Criterion come in, Ripple Effect and DICE all working together and all solving these problems and getting different perspectives and their own experience has been, I mean, for me, both awesome to work with from a day-to-day perspective, but also I think it's one of the reasons this game is as good as it's going to be.
Let's talk a little bit about the single player experience. So, like,
one thought as well, we were talking earlier about, like, what is the future gonna, like, what comes after Battlefield 6, right? They keep talking about the Battlefield universe, and they've got these 4 studios working on it, and they're calling themselves the Battlefield Studios. So you'll notice with the trailers, it no longer pops up saying DICE, EA anymore. Now it just says Battlefield Studios. Are they going to be like the dream team going forward? Like, do they make the next game, all of them together? Are they going to, like, drop Motive and then bring in somebody else to do it with them? Are they going to go down to 3 studios? I'm super curious about that, honestly. You got your email from EA to play earlier? Oh, nice, dude. Congratulations. Somebody was asking if I'm going to play with any of the boys in the beta in BF6. You guys know me. Whenever I play the game, pretty much anyone just, like, adds me and hops in the squad. That's always how I've had things. And it's always been, positive vibes from you guys. So that's how it's going to be in the beta. That's how it's going to be in BF6 when it releases. I'm always down for squaddies, you know? Sadly, Embark Studios has all the big brains of OG DICE. It has a lot of the big brains. It has a lot of them. And also some of them have gone to TTK Studios. That's headed up by Lars Gustafsson, like the ex-Mr. Battlefield, the big Battlefield daddy. A lot of good talent went there as well. But, you shouldn't still underestimate the talent that's left at DICE. And also Ripple Effect. Like, Ripple Effect, once they were associated with Battlefield 2042 and they made Portal, they have a really good reputation. They did a lot of the stuff on the CTE, the community test environment, for Battlefield 4, and they've never really put a foot wrong, to be honest with you.
Was there anything from, like, the past Battlefield, like, hey, I think this is pretty cool, like, maybe inspired you guys to come up with single player for this one?
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, when we started to look at what bringing back a single player campaign could be, we wanted to get our roots from the core Battlefield DNA. So we looked at Battlefield 3 and 4. We wanted to bring back the things that players love about those experiences. We looked at the other things that are being part of this product. We looked at, the class play, multiplayer, the feeling of your squad. So those are all, I can't get into too much of the specifics, obviously, but getting our inspiration from those iconic games in the franchise, and then also making sure that it felt real, it felt grounded, it felt true to the Battlefield DNA. That was what was critical for us about single player and getting it right.
And for those that don't know much about the new game modes that you added, can you tell us a little bit about that too, from the multiplayer side?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think obviously, day one for us, nail all-out warfare, right? Nail conquest, nail rush, nail breakthrough, and I think the team started there, going after that. There's a new game mode called Escalation, which is came from came out of some of the ideas I had of how do we expand the all-out warfare package from the team, and that's going to be another sort of fourth element to that all-out warfare experience, sort of increasing the intensity if possible on top of conquest. So it's a great way to sort of battle for territory and things that the players can experience.
So with this new game mode Escalation, this was mentioned in some other interviews as well, but we don't know too much info. It sounds a lot like Control from Battlefield 2042, where you start off with 4 flags, then it goes to 3, then it goes to 2, then it goes to 1, and it gets more and more intense. He's talking here about like nailing Conquest, Rush, and Breakthrough, but for me, one of the best things that past Battlefield games did well is that maps were made specifically for a game mode. So for anybody who remembers Damavan Peak from Battlefield 3, you could tell that map was designed around Rush, right? You started in like a base, and once you got into the base, you took those objectives, then you parachuted off the edge, and then there was 2 more objectives below, and then you made your way through like a huge construction tunnel, and out the other end of the tunnel, then there was the last set of MCOMs, and that was like the main construction area, and you got out of that. And you could tell, like, that map, that is one of the best Rush maps ever. Like, probably one of my favorite maps in Battlefield history. It's maybe not as good for Conquest, but that's okay, because it was designed around Rush. But the way I feel about most Battlefield games these days is like they design them around Conquest usually, and then Breakthrough and Rush are sort of added in. I wouldn't mind if they just said, hey, here's like this map, this is a Rush map, this is a Breakthrough map, this is a Conquest map, and like it's okay that you put the other game modes in there. Of course, I know like they need to make sense of their development time, right? They have to have multiple game modes playable on multiple maps, but I would like to see a little bit more attention paid to maybe some modes like Rush and Breakthrough outside of Conquest as well, because I think if you look at Battlefield 2042, I mean, God knows the maps were really terrible, especially on release before they were reworked. But if you look at Breakthrough, it was so bad. Like you could tell they just plonked the objectives down on various places. Same with the MCOMs in Rush. And then they didn't do any testing, right? It just did not play well. So yeah, hopefully that's something we're going to see there. Yeah, someone was talking about bots in Portal. So we haven't heard that there's going to be bots in Battlefield 6. But for Portal, they have said there's like AI scripting. So that makes me think if there's going to be AI scripting, then surely they could have bots in there. Maybe there's going to be bots in the regular modes. I don't know. I think if they mention there's going to be bots, that's going to be a negative for the game.
But then we also wanted to make sure that we add, we started to look at some of the things that have worked well for us in the past, some of the things that sort of, short, iterative, fast-paced games that really build off of squad play and things like that. So you get obviously the classic team deathmatch, squad deathmatch really focuses on that squad experiences with you and your 3 other squad mates to really drive home. And against 3 other squads, you've got domination, so that classic Battlefield, adding this sort of the Battlefield DNA to that sort of classic type experience as well as King of the Hill, right? Which allows players to sort of there's learning the maps, chasing, trying to figure out how to play, and really sort of creates that push for skill as you play that game mode over and over again. And I think the package we have really allows and is welcoming to all different types of players, both the Battlefield core as well as other players and who love SBS games. I mean, we're trying to make sure that we got we can introduce them to the Battlefield experience that's really right for them.
I know during the presentation there was no mention about how many players can play online.
I mean, obviously, Conquest 64 players. But our, the goal here is as we go through, we'll go from there and work our way. Various different modes will have different ranges, so it can be. We'll look at Conquest, Breakthrough, 64 players, Rush, and I think as we go through, they'll range in sizes, experiences as we go through, but trying to find the right balance.
Yeah, but my last question is, for me, sometimes when it's like so many players, it's like overwhelming, right? But I really enjoy the small levels too, because there's people that are really into that too, instead of playing with 64 players, right? So like what, 16 players, right, on that one?
Yes, like for example, squad deathmatch
Yeah.
today, we played the squad deathmatch. We played 4 squads of 4, so 16 players. And so I think as we go through, the great thing that we're able to do is to find what's the right size for each match, but also each map, right? So the one thing we're really trying to do is we play test and we iterate, and we use things like Battlefield Labs to really find the right size. But yeah, I mean, those small, intense, short matches are a ton of fun. And I mean, I think for me, I've had some of my best experiences in play test in squad deathmatch as an example, just because it's you play as a squad, you got a good chance. You don't, you're gonna struggle.
Yeah. Oh, well, but last one, favorite class, very quick, favorite class for you
All
personally.
I mean, usually I would say support, but over the last month or two, engineer for me.
Engineer, right?
For me, it's recon for sure. I like to get far away and kind of position myself and then go in. Yeah.
I like the engineer. Engineer's cool. All right. Well, thanks for the interview. I can't wait to play the full version very soon. All right.
Thank you.
No problem.
At the point of this going out, though.
All right, cool. Interesting interviews there. It's nice that they're actually taking the time to, talk to the community properly and addressing issues and whatnot. They're being extremely transparent with this. Were there bots in the multiplayer event? No, there was no bots. Somebody said they may be talking about AI scripting, as in like using AI tools to create some sort of mode for you. Maybe you're right. Maybe they were talking about that, but I don't know if bots are going to be in there. Like, maybe you could say, hey, like, make me this mode with bot. Hopefully we won't need bots in Battlefield 6, guys, because the game is going to be filled with so many players that bots will be completely unnecessary. They did mention bots in Portal, I think. Okay, maybe then, yeah. Maybe. Right, guys, I am going to have to wrap it up pretty soon. I'm going to go and try and find somebody to raid here. So if any of you YouTube folks fancy transitioning over to Twitch for a raid, feel free to do so. Thank you guys so much for hanging out today. As always, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, I recommend doing so. There's going to be plenty more to come on Battlefield 6 going into the future. I'm going to keep you guys up to date with the news, and there's going to be a lot of streams on the beta. So, yeah, that's always appreciated, as is leaving a like below. Let's see. Who we got live? I guess we can go raid Mr. Enders. Go raid Enders. Yep, YouTube bammers, have a good one, mate. I'm still so critical, it's going to take post-beta to change that. I think that's totally fair. You want to wait until you've tried the beta. Try that out first. See if you like it. And if you do, you've got more than enough time to go ahead and pre-order the game, right? Like, there's really no reason that you need to pre-order the game before you tried it. It makes no difference if you pre-order it the day before, or if you just buy the game when it releases, right? So, yeah, I think that's clever. Right, guys, on YouTube, I'm going to shut down the YouTube side of things, so thank you all for being here. I'll see you all probably in a video tomorrow. Going to be talking about the server browser stuff going on over on Twitter at the moment, so that should be interesting, see what DICE's take is on that. But, yes, good night. Have a good one, guys. Twitch people, stick around. We're going to go and raid